Hey everybody, this is Grimcad. We're back today with some more Dungeons and Dragons inside the Shifting City. We're a teensy-tiny little bit late today, but that doesn't really matter. I'm Grimcad. I am your DM. Well, I guess I'm not your DM, but I am the DM. I am joined today by 420. Say hi, 420.
Hi, 420. Sorry.
There we go.
Here?
All right. We are also joined by Guts.
Hi there.
I don't know why I said 420 and then Guts, but Adrian.
Hi.
Tadpole.
Howdy.
And Rick.
Hello. Okay, we can hear you.
Much better, Rick. Fantastic, in fact.
Jeez. Adrian.
But funnily enough, 420, you're breaking up a lot and you're really low.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So last time, some things happened, but surprisingly, not a lot of things. Or did a lot of things happen last time? I can't remember. No, last time was pretty much just the large fight between the Kuthrik and you. Turns out that the Kuthrik are some sort of insectoid burrowing race, and that they are coming closer, or at least starting to come closer to the city. We got the use of some horses from before. We managed to fight them off without dropping a single player, which, it's good for you guys. And then as we were just mopping them up, a lot more started showing up. About double the numbers. Not double the numbers as last time, but the same again, plus, another 8 or so. We ran away valiantly. And as we just got out of sight of the Kuthrik, we stumbled upon a kobold in full plate armor down by the riverbank, who was, doing something, some sort of food prep it looked like. And we have stopped him. I believe everybody in the party wound up stopping. Clarify if I'm wrong. Okay. And there was some sort of confrontation brewing between this kobold and certainly Janeon.
Yes.
A sip of my coffee. So I think we're going to pick up right there. And the very last thing that happened, we were starting to get into this fight, basically. like no buts about it or anything. I want to see if I can get you a handout of what this guy looks like. But we will see what happens.
So we're pretty sure this is going to result in combat.
That's certainly the way it's going for right now.
All right.
It hasn't quite started, but it's certainly getting aggressive. Let's see. No, not screenshots. You think I would have this prepared, and I do have it prepared in some way, just not the way it needs to be prepared.
And I assume it's a nice bright day?
Yes, still the same day.
But it's not evening yet.
Correct. Here, let's see if this one will work. What is this? Shift Z? There we go. He looks like the one on the left. Your very stereotypical, quote-unquote, knight in shining armor, except he, of course, is a kobold.
Looks very noble, as most kobolds do.
Indeed. He has certainly introduced himself as Iflo.
Is that better?
Yes, that is a good bit better.
Not nice.
You're a little echoey, but We'll survive, I suppose. New setup, I take it?
Yeah, I'm trying to play around with stuff.
I gotcha. All right, so because I don't exactly remember what the last bit of what am I trying to say? Interactions between the two of you were. Let's go ahead and just redo them if you don't mind. You had done this thing where you tried to save him by swinging him onto the horse. I remember that now. You successfully managed to do it, despite his not wanting to be swung up on the horse. And then he sort of jumped off the horse. Took what sort of looked like was not a great fall, but he doesn't seem to be worse the wear for it. Of course, it's kind of hard to tell when you're in, full plate, even though it's that size. So let's pick up right from him jumping off and you deciding what to do, Janeon, and the rest of the team, in fact.
Well, can we see his face?
You cannot. He does have a visored helmet on.
Okay. All right.
Well, I do remember. Is this hearable?
Between the two of you, the conversation?
No, I'm meaning my mic.
Oh yes, you're 1,000 times better.
I rechanged things around again. I do remember we basically rounded out the fighting that we were doing because that we. How the rolls had been going and everything, it was easier to round it out. But I was fighting him.
Okay, so I think what we were going to do is we were going to round it out before, but then we decided just to hold off until this session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we are all mounted at the moment.
At the moment, the rest of the party is in fact mounted. Janeon has dismounted.
I've dismounted, drawn my sword, and basically starting to duel him already.
Do I get that spell slot I used on him back if we're restarting it, or?
You have not had a rest. You have been fleeing from your life.
I'm saying we'll still do keeping what we did on him. That is.
Did you use a spell slot on him?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can get that one back.
Oh.
Because, now that we have more time, we might as well.
Is he mounted?
He is not.
Okay.
He jumped off the horse.
He jumped off the horse and at this point is brandishing his mace. Excuse me. There's two of them. So if everyone would like to roll initiative, I will clear the tracker. And then roll.
Yay, I rolled the best.
We're going to go ahead and stick on the same map for this. I don't really see a point in shrinking down to another map. All right. So the first one to act is Tadpole.
And we just ran into him, right? This is...
Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm just clarifying, remembering from last week. Okay, great.
Janeon was a bit ahead of the rest of the party. He saw that... He was a bit behind the rest of the party, if I'm actually not mistaken. So what we will do...
I was ahead of everyone.
You were ahead? Okay.
Yeah.
All good. So he was a bit ahead of the rest of the party. The things took place. You could clearly see what just happened. Him pulling the kobold up, the kobold jumping down, both he and Janeon pulling out their weapons.
Okay.
At this point, I am assuming you have slowed down. your horses, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to ride up to him and say, thank goodness, another kobold, and I'm doing this in Draconic, another friendly face. They've taken me captive. Please protect me. And I'm going to stand off to the side of him and hold my action. As soon as somebody gets within the combat range, I'm going to attack.
Okay.
I'm going up and take this contract up.
Attacks party.
All right, so you're coming sort of behind him?
Yeah, I'm trying to pretend that, kobold to kobold,
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm going to hold my action, and then when I have somebody comes within melee range, I'm going to try to do a sneak attack.
Okay, so you're moving from about here to about here?
Sure.
Okay. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay. Rick.
I might just move a bit closer to him, but hold my action, and I'll hold the glaive attack since I can take that from 10 feet away.
Okay. It's over to his turn. He looks back at you, Tadpole, and he shouts at the party, "You fiends! Always putting my kind down! Today you will pay!" And he comes at you, Janeon. Rick, if you want to get an attack, use your attack, you can do so now. That does not hit. And he attacks Janeon. There's probably some text on the end of this, but, nothing I can do about that. His mace sort of it glows with power, and it by itself doesn't look particularly ornate at a glance, but there's certainly something to it. And he hefts it, and he strikes down with it, and he misses valiantly. And he does attack again with it. Just another swing and the miss in the exact same place that the mace was before. It swings twice, but of course Janeon isn't there. And it is now your turn, Janeon.
First thing I'm going to do is my bonus action. Do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm still a little bit hurt. I'm not sure why that rolled.
It's alright. Take the first one.
Yeah. Damn it. Basically a waste.
Happens.
And then I'm going to strike back at him.
That is a miss.
Rip.
Over to Guts.
Alright, so I believe I'm in range for it, so I will lift my hand and cast Heat Metal on Iflo.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Not much he can do about that one. So that's 2d8.
Give me a sec.
No problem. Heat metal is probably this man's kryptonite.
And I know that says the duration is about 1 minute. How long do you think it'll take?
That's typically 10 rounds.
Wonderful. I like them apples.
He sort of grunts, and he doesn't like them apples.
He doesn't like them apples.
Adrian, it's your turn.
I admonish him for not eating his food just like he should. And I cast I'm just gonna cast my old firebolt.
Okay. That is a hit.
I'm gonna move 2.1 miles over this way. That'll be my turn.
All right. Over to Tadpole again.
Okay, well, I'm going to get within 10 feet of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, I think something's burning. And grovel, cower, and beg. Everybody has advantage against him until the end of my next turn.
All right. Back over to Rick.
Can I walk up to the back of Iflo? While I'm doing that, swap out the glaive in my hands for the club on my back.
Yes.
And when I get up to him, just go for a whack over the back of the head.
Yes. That is a miss, however.
He has advantage.
Correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a hit. And a pretty substantial one as well. All right. Iflo Pawu. You didn't notice it before you started attacking, but he's got some sort of cloak on him. Small. You'd barely even call it a cloak. More sort of a scarf is probably the best way to think of it. And when you look at it, it's bloody, very freshly bloody. Now, you didn't happen to notice him doing any butchering or anything of that nature. But regardless, he activates the cloak's powers, and he uses the effects of a Misty Step spell. And he moves 2.1 miles.
The coward.
Quite the misstep.
He doesn't actually use 2.1, but obviously we're set for the other one right now. Janeon, it is your turn.
I pull out a boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
You're hard to hear again.
Yeah.
And I'll use a charge of the grasping shot.
Okay. Well, that is a hit for 6 by itself, and then the grasping, an extra 2d6. An extra 8.
Its speed is also reduced by 10 feet, and every time it moves, it takes another 2d6 damage.
Gotcha. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough on
buddy.
kobolds. Let's see. All right, Guts.
All right, so I'm gonna move closer to him, so I'm in range to hit him with my rapier. But I'm also gonna like to use my bonus action to inflict more heat metal damage.
Okay. For the record, this is not actually a river right here, because we're zoomed in and the river is very large. We are still on the close side of the riverbank. Well, that's a big crit.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna brandish it, and then try and make a 4 on his face. Like a swish.
Mm-hmm.
Incoming message.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
And for the heat metal, it's another 2d8, right?
Sure is.
He's not having a good time.
He is not. He's got 2 lots of moving, like, each turn he takes extra damage.
Yeah. Adrian, it's your turn.
Just
Okay,
stack up dot.
Turns out you guys excel at single target combat. Who knew?
Who would have thought? Firebolt to all those 20s, man.
Wow.
That's a hit.
Oh, well, on the 7.
It stacks up after a while. Let's see. All right, Tadpole, your turn.
Okay. In Draconic, why are you leaving me to these thugs? And then I'm gonna shoot him with my bow.
All right.
All right. Do.
Get that boy.
You betcha. And I still have advantage until the end of my turn. So,
Okay, well, that is a hit.
all right.
So, question, we're taking him hostage, right?
I had no intention whatsoever of that last I knew we were killing.
I know Janeon's intents are definitely to kill him, and funnily enough, to steal his armor.
I wanted that shiny as fuck armor. That'll put
Okay.
my AC over 20.
Does he seem to be? Do you allow things like insight checks in the middle of combat?
To determine what?
I want to see if he seems to be affected by the sunlight.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I'm going to try to quickly do an insight check to see if it looks like he's running at disadvantage. Of course, I'm at disadvantage to check, so yeah, never mind.
You're not sure?
I figured as much.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Rick.
Does he look very good at
He does look quite hurt at this point. You might even say he looks bloodied.
Can I run 1.4 miles?
Sure.
Totally go to the square next to that under guts, though. Just saying.
You're running low on movement space.
Yeah, like, I won't be able to move further. You forget
I'm
I
going
have
to
5 lists.
try and shove my club into his eye socket.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a hit. He's looking worse for the wear, but not awful at this point. Iflo's turn. Iflo is a very simple person. He will attack Guts twice.
That's a miss. And that's a hit.
4-8.
Damn.
He will, as a bonus action, use a second charge of his cloak and try to get the hell on out of there.
Is that a teleport?
Yes.
Damn it.
Janeon, it is your turn.
Well, I'm gonna move that and then pull out my little boomerang
Mm-hmm.
and using my last charge for the day for until we rest, I'll use Vanish this time.
Mm-hmm. That's a hit.
So until the start of... Oh, it might be the end of it.
You're also breaking up a good bit.
Sorry, it's like storming out here, so they might be playing into it as well.
Gotcha. Okay,
Very good, New
charisma,
Zealand.
wisdom, so throw.
Yeah, at the end of its next turn.
Oh, at the end of its next. Okay.
Yep.
Guts, over to you.
So
Wonderful.
everyone dogpile around that spot he disappeared, because he's coming back in about 3 seconds.
Alright. So wait, he's gone right now?
Yet you just watched my boomerang hit him, and then it just went, and he just disappeared.
Alright, I guess I'll hold my action. I'll have my rapier at the ready, and then my bonus action for heat metal.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna move next to him?
Yeah.
Like, he will appear in the same spot. Exact same spot.
We're all just huddled together like, where is he? He's gonna come back.
Alright, Adrian.
I am going to move closer and prepare a spell to cast at him. Spell being hold person.
Okay. Tadpole?
So is he gone for 3 seconds or 6 seconds?
6 seconds, end of his next turn.
A whole turn then. Okay.
Yep.
So then I'm going to move. I can move 40 feet. So since I'm assuming that's somewhere around there. And
Yeah.
then as soon as he reappears, I will shoot. So I'm
Okay.
holding my action.
This dude is about to get dogpiled the shit out of.
Rick, your turn.
Yeah, I was gonna go up to
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where he is, holding action.
pretty much the same. All right. And Iflo. Well, he comes back. And then a whole bunch of things happen. So let's go in the order that it happened. So let's start with Guts and your hold action. Held action. That's it. All right. All right. Adrian, your held action.
Hold person, wisdom save.
Okay.
He has failed. He is now paralyzed.
All right.
Which means, on that note, person paralyzed. You all have our advantage. Heavy attack is a crit against him now. He has disadvantage on strength. No, he fails strength and dex saving throws.
All right. Tadpole, your held action.
Okay. I don't think a 9 hits.
I'm afraid. No, you have advantage. He is...
I do not, because I'm at disadvantage because of sunlight.
That's right.
So you're on flat line.
I'm an honest kobold.
I'm probably never going to remember that, by the way.
I will remember it for you.
Rick, your held action. Yeah, that's a hit.
That's a double crit. Look at that.
Let's see. Oh, this is where I'm stupid and everybody knows it now. Because I can't do maths.
Don't worry, so can I. Like 50% of the world.
All right. He is not down yet, but nearly. Let's see. He gets a whatchamacallit save to end? Wisdom. So at the end of his turn, he tries to break free from the hold. 12 probably does not do it.
No, I do not think so.
All right, Janeon, it is your turn.
Take the finisher blow.
Yeah, I actually.
Just restrain him and take his armor off and strip him naked,
Oh no, because weren't we gonna kill him anyway? Because he's being a dick to the whole countryside and shit.
At this point, while he's magically held, he still looks pretty worse for wear. The armor is sort of messed up at this point. You can see that he's bleeding fairly heavily from pieces in the armor. He's bleeding heavily from his visor, blood sort of seeping through the holes and the very new slits that are in there.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. We could take him back. I'm sure Last would appreciate the lack of murder, and maybe we could, take him with us. You know what I mean?
Well, if this doesn't kill him, then yeah, we can do that. But I pull out my grappling hook attached to a rope and I throw it at him.
What?
Yeah. For that extra 2 points of damage. I'm 5 feet short of actually being able to attack him. But he's stupid 5 feet.
Did you just scorpion him?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, yeah. If this hits, can I actually try and yank him with it? Can we use it as
No, that's not a thing you super are proficient with. You practice it. I'll let you do it all day long, but try and just right off the bat, I'm gonna say no.
Obviously, I haven't practiced it. I missed quite royally.
Sure.
Hey, watch where you're throwing that thing.
You thought you were gonna be super cool, but it went like way farther than you thought.
Janeon just kinda shrugs.
Guts.
Alright, I am going to use my ability of Lamentful Fugue, which allows me to... Shit, where'd it go?
Which allows you to make people
Allow me
depressed.
to instill feelings of remorse and sadness in listeners. So, I will start performing a little ditty. That's very...
Baby,
That's very, I don't even say it's a ditty, it's just a scream.
Okay.
So, and it says, as a bonus action, I begin a performance that affects one creature of my choice within 60 feet that can hear me, filling the target with crippling depression that lasts until the end of my next turn.
Alright.
When the depressed creature is attacked, you can use your reaction to spend one of your Bardic Inspiration, rolling the Bardic Inspiration die and subtracting the number rolled from the blah 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 blah.
Can you hit the button and bring it into the main chat?
Yes. I'm just gonna have to copy and paste it.
That's fine. Okay. He is depressed. He is getting his tail handed to him.
Is very depressed.
I mean, he had a nice little holiday in the Feywild, and then came back after playing with the unicorn, and just basically had a bad time.
Met with a barrage of attacks. Adrian, it is your turn.
I'm gonna go over next to him. I'm just gonna backhand in with the edge of my dagger.
Okay.
Not lethally. Oh, I quit anyways. Look at that.
Look at that.
Does a 7 do it?
Not quite. It is a stiff breeze away from falling down, but it is not dead at this point.
I looked at Tadpole over it and say, why don't you just kick him down already?
Tadpole, it is your turn.
Okay, well, looks like the guy, he's surrounded. So I'm going to give him one more shot. And I've been forgetting to do my sneak attack, so I will not forget again.
Oh god, it's stiff breeze, man. A stiff breeze.
Well,
All
that's
right.
definitely a hit.
And there's my sneak attack as well.
All right. Well, that's certainly enough for it to, or him, to go down. He sort of, gets shot in the heart or something like that. He's still held at this point, I believe, so he doesn't really move a lot. He just sort of flumps over.
He stops moving, but he still moves.
I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, your guys are really difficult to hear.
Oh, this mic is annoying. I've basically got to eat it to be heard.
All right, so what next?
Well, I'm curious to see
I
if
start
he has
stripping
anything
him
on his. Yeah, I want to look at the head, see if there's any glasses or anything he might be using to make it so he can actually see or not be blinded by the sun.
Janeon, trying to strip the armor off of him is difficult.
Guys, let me take the armor off. You're not blacksmiths. You fucked it up royally.
Adrian, it's like he's got rigor mortis or something. You could let him go now.
Give me a strength check.
Oh,
You gotta get the buckles, man. The buckles. Don't just tear it off.
You can't get it. The whole thing, as you're working on it, looks almost like it's welded together.
I'll look at Adrian then, if he thinks he can do it.
I'll take a look at it.
Alright, so what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to examine the armor, see how it's all put together, and how to, take it off with my blacksmithing knowledge. That's an intelligence blacksmithing check right there.
Okay. So, like I said, it's very odd. The whole thing looks like it's welded together in a suit of armor. It doesn't look like it's coming off. If you want to try to, take your tools to the welds and the seams, you can. Is that what you want to go ahead and do?
I'm gonna take a quick sec. We're in no danger here right now, right? We're safe. For the most part.
That's very relative. I mean, just a couple moments ago, you were fleeing for your lives from the Kuthrik.
How about this, guys? We take him back, and then we can work on it in the city when we aren't getting eaten by giant insects. And then we have proof of if he's dealt with, too.
Good idea.
Let's take him back to the camp first. There's too many hostile people in the city. Take him back to the camp, do what you need to do, then take him to the city.
Okay.
Does his visor open?
Seems to be welded too.
Okay.
All right.
Would Rick at all have noticed that the scarf was what he was using to use his Misty Step?
You probably could. I mean, it's certainly unusual. It is this bloody scarf. Now that you guys are sort of paying attention to it and looking over it, you can see that it appears to be made of the corpses of those, or rather the pelts, of those blink bunnies, we'll call them.
Yeah.
I would totally take that off him before.
We're hunting those bunnies later, oh god.
Okay, well, that's actually something that comes off without much trouble again.
Who's carrying the mace?
So I'm going to link down the thing of what it is, and so it spoils the actual name of the blink bunnies, which I suppose Tadpole would know anyway. Whoops, it didn't actually. Whoops, what's going on? Hey, there we go.
Cloak of blood displacement, huh?
That's a lot of
That's
charges.
3. That's not 30. My bad.
Gives disadvantage on all social interaction rolls.
Yeah, that's
Also, you need to kill more bunnies to refuel it, so after we leave this plane, you're pretty fucked unless we keep some.
Gives disadvantage on all social interaction rolls. But what if it was intimidation?
Well, that's a fair point. We can give advantage on intimidation. All right, so we have this thing, and the mace is, as I described earlier. I will go ahead and knock that one too, but I closed the sheet. So hold on just a second.
Is that to use the cloak? Is that an action, bonus action, or a free action?
It is a free action.
Okay.
And it's just a regular mace with the add-on. Or rather, a regular +1? Hold on. Yes, a +1 mace. So what are we doing right now? We've managed to strip the corpse of the things that's strippable. For the record, its shield is just sort of a normal shield. It doesn't particularly look like it's magically imbued or anything like that.
I say throw him over the back of one of the horses and let's head to camp.
I drag him back up onto the horse he just jumped off for, and we better get out of Dodge.
We are heading back to the rat camp.
The rat camp.
Rat camp.
The rat cave.
Okay. It takes a couple of hours. You guys are sort of far away from it, but without too much trouble, you arrive back at the camp. Hasn't particularly...
Yeah, did Croaks ever get back to me? He sent a message. Anything ever happened with that?
You would have met somewhere along the road. And, you know, he successfully delivered the message.
Being chased.
Yeah. It looks like, well, frankly, it does not look like they were exactly mobilizing to come to your rescue or anything like that.
Oh, I didn't expect them to.
Yeah.
So who has the cloak?
I think Rick took it.
Okay, I'm going to ask Rick
I can borrow the cloak until we determine who's going to get it.
A note. We'll never get back to camp when we're safe, detect magic, everything.
All right, hold on. Let's do the cloak, and then we'll do that, okay? Let us argue for the cloak.
I mean, if you want to, I just didn't want that thing to have it.
Well, I mean, I would love to have the cloak, but anybody else probably would also benefit. I'm not the most socially adept person already, so that might come as a surprise to you, considering how suave I am in public.
Janeon just wants the fancy
armor. So no issues giving Tadpole the cloak?
Nope.
Not at all.
Okay. And the mace.
I'm going to go try to wash the cloak.
Okay, we'll deal with that in just 1 second.
He doesn't have a magic item yet, or a magic weapon.
Yeah, so, and for the record, Tadpole, I don't really do the attunement rules. For the most part, you can pick up and use magic items as you pick up and use them. I never really particularly liked attunement, to be honest.
No problem.
It doesn't always work like that, but for the most part. So the mace.
Yeah, who doesn't have a magic weapon?
I do not believe Guts has one.
Well, I wouldn't use a mace regardless, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't have any magic weapon, but at the same time, Janeon's not really a mace person. So if Guts wants it.
I don't think I have a mace.
Maces should be fairly simple. They might be martial, but I don't remember
they're
off the top of
simple.
my head.
Yeah, they're a simple weapon.
Yeah. So, I mean, practically everybody can use a mace.
I don't
What do
think
you mean? I
actually.
can use one. I just don't have one.
Daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, light crossbows. No maces for me.
I mean, if no one cares about it for the moment, at least, Rick can hold on to it.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Gilgamesh of the group anyway.
Yeah. I'm the walking bloody armory.
Basically.
All right, so we'll just say that you're holding on to it for now, Rick. We get back to the cave. Not cave, camp. Jeez. Not enough coffee.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's it.
Let me get off on an extremely short tangent right now about coffee. So this morning I had, I'm on a keto diet, which, low carb, high fat kind of deal. So I had a bulletproof coffee today, which is coffee, but instead of milk or cream, you put butter in it for fat and calories.
What?
It wasn't great.
I've met people who put butter in coffee and stuff, and it's just fucked up.
It wasn't great. I don't think I'm ever going to do it again. All right. You get to it, and the camp looks, well, pretty much the way you left it. Some things have changed. It's midday now. People are up and about. But, they're not really doing a lot of things. The big several, however, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, the people with names, do seem to be in sort of a conversation. They're huddled up, they're talking. Doesn't look like any particular one is leading the conversation or anything like that, but they're all certainly discussing something, and presumably it's of some importance. Before we do anything with that, two things happen. Number one, Adrian casts detect magic on all this stuff, right?
Yes.
When you're casting it, you're hit. You're hit hard. You know how you casted it on the stone head a while back, and you got hit by some huge magic? Whatever is coming from the set of armor from Iflo is dwarfing even that. You can't tell what it is. It's like if each school of magic were represented by a colored light, it'd be like staring at the sun. You can't tell anything. It's just blinding.
You see me screaming, just kick the body away.
We're talking artifact levels of magical item here.
Anyone around to see my display?
Presumably the rest of the party, unless they're going off and doing their own thing.
Nope. Janion's waiting around for that armor one way or the other.
I'm
So I'll
fighting
just
my
see me kind
urge
of
to
kick
clean
the body
this
away.
thing. I just want to see what's under the helm.
I'm gonna shout if we're in the camp or just in the middle. I'm gonna shout for Gabriel to come over.
He looks up from his conversation and he goes, says something to him, and then pretty much the entire rest of the group comes over and crowds around. Chol, of course, pretty much takes the leave. Welcome. We got your message. I'm glad to see you were able to handle things. I'm moving your bird out the way. Our friend there, is that the thing you were in trouble from?
This is the kobold they wanted to be hunted down.
Right. Well,
Two birds and one stone. The armor, though, Gabe, it. How the hell does a kobold have this?
he comes up and he casts the spell, and again, he reactions similar to yours. You know, it's like staring into the sun. It's blinding, it hurts, it's painful. Yeah, what is that? Ugh.
It's clothing, apparently.
Ooh, yeah, Janeon's getting him some of that nice cursed armor.
That's impossible.
It certainly wasn't made to make a fashion statement, I'll tell you that much.
For the record, the armor doesn't look too bad. I mean, the whole ensemble with the bloody scarf certainly was a bit much, but the armor doesn't look bad. What are you doing with it? I mean... Look, you could probably get the helmet off or something and work piece by piece, but even that is going to probably take some time.
Janeon sits down and starts working on it.
I don't suppose any of you have a pearl on you.
Have a what?
A pearl for identify?
Ah. No. Everything like that would be back at the, city.
Maybe we'll check back in town, but, yeah, there is an issue we need to talk about.
What?
Well, this is in general to everybody, and like, especially Joel if he's nearby now. Is he? Is the whole group kind of assembled here?
Yeah, pretty much everybody important.
Like, yeah, those are Kruthic nests. They're big. We killed about 9 of them, which was more than it was supposed to do alone, apparently, according to the priest in town, who's really worried about it. And then after we killed those, 10 more came out, chased us, and kept up with the goddamn horses.
Oh, that's probably not good. We were just discussing what we were going to do with the light of such things. We're going to need to talk a little bit more. But it might be time to start to step up our plans.
Oh, we do have some of the bodies with us, if you guys want to examine them.
We might as well take a look at them. I'm sure Kives, at the very least, would be quite interested. You know, Kives in the back just goes, "Aya!" and proceeds to go about and pull the bodies off the horses and starts to go over them in some sort of detail, along with a Locked and Lorist.
Don't butcher a few of them. We want to take them to the city so they know what happened.
Oh yeah, right now we're just taking a look, see what makes them tick. But we'll get to that all in a little bit.
Are there any children in this camp?
No, there are not.
Okay.
Speaking of which, Tadpole, you had a little thing when you came where you were trying to clean the cloak.
Yes.
Despite your best efforts, and you're good at what you do when it comes to cleaning, so you know what you're doing, it will not get clean at all. The moment you clean it up, it starts just dripping blood again. It's kind of horrifying to you, almost.
I don't mind the blood. I just don't want it on me or on anything. I mean, it will ruin my lovely little dress.
It will certainly ruin your ensemble.
Yes. Well, I can't use it then. I'm too... Nope. Does anybody else want this? Holding out with some tongs. Can anybody else use this?
I thought it looked pretty cool. If I can get this damn armor in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just with my background, I can't use it.
All right, so Janeon, you're going about trying to remove the helmet from this thing. What exactly are you doing? Are you just trying to brute force it, or are you, hammer and chisel and all that, or what's up?
Well, I don't have tools myself, so unless Adrian was helping me, he's kind of just like doing the goblin thing over it and trying to bang at it and pull it off and stuff like that.
Is anyone giving Janeon a hand?
If we're just waiting to plan stuff, I'll give him a hand. Till we move out again, at least.
You are giving a hand?
Probably,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd probably give him a hand after 5 or 10 minutes of laughing watching it.
He's definitely struggling with it, but if anyone would like to give him a hand, let's go ahead and get strength checks and another blacksmith tools check from you, Adrian, as we're trying to really work this thing off.
Oh my god, can I just get a fucking good roll?
No. Gods give us inspiration. Sing us
This
the
is good.
song of...
I assume thieves' tools wouldn't help, right?
I'm afraid not.
I didn't think so.
Oof.
Play the song of stripping dead bodies.
Stripping dead bodies.
You just...
What's a good song for that?
Even the strong man couldn't get a grip.
You just can't seem to get it off. While you guys are working, Vex comes over, and, she watches for a little while and goes, well, I love to see people beating their head up against things. Why don't we just leave it for a little while? It could be our party tonight. Everyone will take turns try to dismantle this armor or something. Surely with a camp full of 30-some people, we'll be able to get it off at some point.
Probably a better idea than what we're doing right now. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I do have a sledgehammer if you want to, pound it to pieces.
She shrugs and goes, well, it belongs to them. I don't particularly care what they do with it.
I have a question. Does anybody have that I heard of that somebody has a spell that makes things clean? Does anybody have that spell around here?
Yeah.
Prestidigitation or whatever the hell you call that thing?
Even I've got prestidigitation.
Can you cast that on this and see what happens? I hold out the bloody cloak.
So I assume someone's casting it, and whomever casts it. Man, I can't talk today. It certainly does clean it for all of about 2 seconds, and then it starts to seep blood again.
Okay. Damn. Okay. I will not be bested by a stupid cloak. I'm going to spend hours down by the stream washing the thing.
You're pretty far away from the stream. I mean, they do have sources of water with them. Basically the way it works is that they constantly create water at the beginning of the day, so water's not really an issue, but you aren't exactly near a stream. But either way, it can get done.
Yeah, I will spend hours.
All right.
Rubbing.
So that is pretty much my question for everyone else. Right now, we've just delivered the news to the rat folk. They are discussing what they're going to be doing in stepping up their plans. But what is everyone going to be doing in the meantime? Go ahead.
Janion's just gonna do a mix of cooking and trying to cut and butcher him out to make getting the armor easier. Like, try and remove out maybe his arm or something. Yeah, you know how Janeon.
Sure. You can't, when you're working on it, really find gaps in the armor. Like I've alluded to before, the whole thing seems to be welded. And when you're really getting in there, it almost looks like it's just one piece. Your best bet is that there's something odd going on with it. And then this individual never removed this armor. I mean, it would be pretty much impossible. Unless, of course, there's some sort of trigger or something on it. You all know it's highly magical at this point.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if there's like an opening mechanism or something like that?
Sure.
I mean, I'm gonna fail because of my rolls and everything, but yeah.
So somebody has a knock spell.
Wait. Why am I double rolling for a start? And that 18.
18's pretty good, but you're not thinking it's going to be as simple as that. Whatever it is, it's complex. I mean, this is beyond... this isn't exactly user-friendly magical artifacts.
So yeah, Janeon getting that nice cursed armor.
It doesn't appear to be exactly cursed, but that's more of an eye of the beholder thing, you know.
I mean, Janeon wouldn't care about it.
Right. Excuse me. So let's just go ahead and ask Adrian, what are you going to be working on during this sort of brief interlude?
Is there any progress you think I could make with the armor at all, or should I wait till we probably get identified and stuff like that?
Is there any kind of what you could make?
Progress?
Progress? Yeah. I mean, you could set about studying it for a while. It's a bit out of your depth of field, but you can certainly work on it.
Okay.
Or
I will, we want an Arcana check?
Please.
Totally.
You're working on understanding it, but it's complicated. It's, you know, understanding a nuclear bomb with, you know, high school physics. Guts, what would you like to...
I'd like to go around and check and see if anyone in the camp needs any help, or if there's anything that needs to be done.
Sure. So, you know, after a brief go-around, you do notice that Zoosh is becoming quite popular with the young men in the camp.
Oh boy.
Our sister's a little slut.
I wouldn't go that far, but yes, you know, people are taking time, making effort to spend time with Zoosh. Of course, Zoosh is pretty much oblivious, because, you know, she's pretty oblivious. But she's certainly popular at the moment. I mean, not only is she's oblivious to advances as well, so I guess she's got that going for her, but they're definitely coming in.
Maybe alright, do you guys think I should make her aware of this, or should I just kind of let her, like, not saying?
That is...
I'm gonna... Well, I think I'll try... I'm gonna spend some time with her, and if anyone tries to come up and, like, lay the moves on her, I'll be her wingman.
Okay.
That's if, though.
Alright.
But I would like to spend some time with Zoosh, though.
Okay. Talking with Zoosh, basically the things that she's been doing in the last couple of days, she's been doing two things. She's been trying to learn Common, and she's been working on her innate spell mastery, we'll say. She's been very distracted lately because she's, again, fairly oblivious. She's fairly cheerful. So if someone comes to her and, comes to talk, she's the kind of person who talks back with them. So you can tell she's trying to work on things, but it isn't going very well.
I'll bring this up with her and say, hey, are you being bothered by the people coming by? Do you need me to, let people know that you're a little busy?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that I'm being bothered exactly. It's always nice to chat. I mean, there's so many new faces and new people, and they all have such interesting stories to tell. My stories are mostly, we walked for 6 days and there was sand.
I mean, but you still look like you're trying to work. If you need to focus, you know it's okay to tell people that you're busy, right? That you need to focus.
I suppose that's true, but what if they need something and I can help them with it?
I mean, Of
course, I should actually preface this that this is spoken in very broken common, actually.
My goodness. But shit, I keep breaking out. You can always tell them that you can always prioritize and try and tell when someone's just coming over because they're bored or they just want someone to talk to because they're not doing anything. I mean, if you're practicing your magic, that's important. You can always take time for yourself. It's called self-care.
I suppose you're right. I should probably work on it some.
Don't get me wrong, it's okay to...
No, this is more important than chatting. I should work. And, even though she says that, she does look sort of crestfallen. And she returns pretty much to the tent to work on these things and to get some privacy while she's doing them.
Oh no!
It was sick guts.
I wasn't trying to be mean.
All right, Rick. What would you like to do in this, again, brief interlude? Anything specific, or?
No, I'd probably just help out Janeon, trying to get this armor off.
Okay. And then, Tadpole, you're working on cleaning the blood spot in vain.
Yes, that's a line from Macbeth. So
yes.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to see if I can sew in flowers to it, wrap it in grass, anything I can to try to stop it from doing
pretty it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I'm sure it's in vain, but that's what I would do.
Of course.
Ends up breaking the enchantment because it makes it look too pretty.
You cleaned it up too much. It's broken.
You can't find crime if you ain't cute.
So the day pretty much passes like this. Everyone's sort of doing their own thing. Most of the head people have been conferring amongst themselves. Eventually they call you all over from your various tasks of what you're doing, and so I don't know why I moved everybody, because I'm just, moving them back immediately. And Shoal speaks up. With a pressing thing such as this, we're going to be forced to move up our timetable, I believe. My big question, before I actually go ahead and start with this, is Tadpole, are you in on this conversation?
Sure. I've got a wash bucket I'm carrying around with me.
Okay. Everyone else, they would certainly make an effort to call around, but not so much you. But if you're there, they're also not making an effort to stop you exactly. They're giving you sort of furtive glances every so often and maybe guarding their words a little bit, but certainly not talking. Out. So I think we might start to take things in another direction and start making
today's adventures there.
All right, well, what happened then?
Well, on the way back to the city, and I'm sure you know what happened in Egg and stuff, and as we're going over the horizon, we see a smoke plume. I was thinking, oh god, that crazy bitch started a fire.
All right.
We get to the gates, there's the usual, the guards there. I was like, I have to guard the gate, they can handle the fire kind of thing. Okay, sure, we'll get over and start heading there. And as soon as we walk past him, it looks kind of shifty, and he tugs on some sort of amulet, and the gate just shuts closed behind us. And then two other guards come out who were woefully inadequate at their job and attempted to arrest us for, and I quote, starting the fire. Because that's what if we mentioned the trio of adventurers that were there before, they were hired by the city, they were wasting money, languishing around all day, drinking the ale, and not doing the job of hunting that kobold we just killed over there.
All right, with you so far.
So according to their leader, we started the fire. They've also been talking the last few days about, quote-unquote, at least when we were there, the dragon eggs and how rich they could be made off of them. Because, those are totally dragon eggs, not giant insectoid creatures.
Right.
So them not realizing it's not actual dragon eggs and being stupid shits decided to set the place on fire in the middle of the night, bribe a guard that says they saw us leaving the city through the back gate, and I'm pretty sure they probably just asked Mrs. Potter, she's freaking delusional, to say that we started the fire.
I see.
So we spent the morning in jail while they put the fire out themselves. And I made it very clear that we could have helped, considering, we have water magic and stuff available. But no, we were shoved into the jail cells. I got hit in the face 2 times. One of them played with our weapons when we put them in the lockup, which is a well they have. And the warden was generally wondering what the fuck's happening, considering the place is now flooded. Eventually, the wonderful sheriff, I believe. Is that what he was, Tadpole?
Yep.
The sheriff came back, and you had a bit of a conversation with him. And then we all went out for a walk to the tavern. And there, the usual kind of de facto, I'm assuming, council of all the old people, the mayor and the tavern owners, presumably the wealthiest merchant, give or take, in the area, were talking. We went to a back room. We brought in the adventurers. We counter-accused them. Janeon gave his amulet of thoughts over to the sheriff, and the priest lost cleared it for use, but when we told him we came back in the morning to warn them of the goddamn Kruthic in the north, that's not what that's what the eggs are from. He was very worried and rushed out to prepare for events, because that's a big deal, as we were told by Tadpole.
Right.
And so a little debating happened, and we proved our innocence, and the other 3 adventurers were taken to jail after the sheriff read the leader's thoughts, saying that he set it up, he killed a guard, and presumably killed the old lady who made those wonderful dishes, just for some dragon eggs, which were fake. So if you wish... No, go ahead.
She's definitely dead then, or...
She was missing. They killed the guard off in an accident during the fire.
Certainly presumable then.
Yeah.
Huh.
So if you want to make any claims regarding compensation for us, that's one avenue you could take.
Possibly, but I'm not sure what they'd be willing to do as compensation. At this point, frankly, you're heroes. So that works well, but...
Thinking we could move into the city post and start trying to make them indebted to us.
I think that's one thing that we'll be doing. Like I was saying before, I think it's time to make city life look bad and our life look good. As I mentioned, one of the easiest ways to do that is rats. I don't think we will be able to smuggle them in through the front gates, frankly, unless...
I mean, I don't think they checked anything we brought in, right?
We could
I'd
do
maybe
your
so bold. Oh, sorry, you can go, Janeon.
I was just gonna say we could load up Maria's car and I could ride her into town and then just kind of release them.
They probably wouldn't check.
Not my cart anyway. They've seen me come in a couple of times.
Indeed, and you brought in all those barrels of ale too, didn't you?
Yeah.
We could take them back empty. Maybe not empty, rather empty them and fill the barrels themselves with the rats. You bring them into the city. With luck, they won't check if you tell them we're just getting more. Open up the barrels, let the rest of the rats free, have them do their business. See if you can get refills on the ale. That gets them in. That's certainly one way to do it. But that plan, frankly, falls apart if they do go to check our supposedly empty barrels of ale and find them teeming with rats and the weight from said rats.
To be fair, they have like maybe a dozen or so guards at most, maybe 2 dozen.
Does anyone remember how far through the shift we
are? One moment. We are...
Day 11, day 12-ish. Let me piss off on my...
We're a bit earlier than that, I believe. We are on the evening of the 7th day.
Where's my idea? We bring back the crewfake corpses, we bring back the kobold.
That would be wrong. That would be the evening of the 8th day.
Oh damn, I thought we were later than that. Bring back all the bodies saved and clean up their shit, and we have to report to Alas about the situation. And turn in this dead kobold to the mayor.
See, I was just thinking, what if we tried bringing the group through to the city? Like, it seems like we've already got something set up in the area.
That's true. I mean,
how tall is the wall that of made of bones?
It's tall. It's a good 30 feet or so.
Okay, so we can't just throw a bunch of rats over the wall. Okay. Yep. Get a little.
Like I was saying earlier, if I could be so bold, maybe I can smuggle them in. I mean, they're not going to pat me down. And I frankly have a lot of room under.
You can, if that'd be something you could be comfortable with, but as well, I don't think you can smuggle in as many as you might think you can. Making 50 trips in and out of a city packed with 30 or so rats will still take some time.
What is the ruling on bags of holding and live things?
They become unalive when they get put in.
Yeah, they have like 10 minutes of air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's certainly something. I think we need to think about that one. Other options are our friend Iflo over there was being a concern for them. We could stage that he is becoming more reckless. In addition to the things, start burning fields, perhaps, while disguised as them. That's one thing. We could let our friends go to work on the fields themselves. They're quite intelligent and very well trained. They could actually start stripping the fields of whatever is in them, this grain or whatnot. That certainly adds some to the credence that there would be an issue of rats inside. What else could we do? We could begin to lure the Kuthric closer and closer to the city. That, of course, comes with its own dangers, if they're as dangerous as the townsfolk say, frankly. But it's definitely time to start putting pressure on to the town. We'll be going into the town likely tomorrow and start doing our own things up close and personal. Unfortunately, none have come into the city proper. Into the camp proper to check things out, even though we've left some bait dangling, so we'll have to go forward. We'll be bringing wares in, we'll be doing our things, and making friends with people, and he sort of glances over at Kif. And just generally letting us know that we are friends. Luckily, you've set most of that groundwork already.
Do you want us to go back now, present what we've done, and wait for you in the morning, maybe?
I think it would be better if we came in with you. That way we have our vouch right then and there. As I said, you are pretty much local celebrities or heroes at this point, surely. Or will be once you bring the Kuthric. But I do think we need to finalize these plans. Is there anything else that we might be able to do that we're overlooking?
I mean, I doubt that wall goes that far underground, especially if they're worried about the Kuthric. I could always just dig a hole. For the rats, that is.
How long would that take?
I mean, I just cast my cantrip and flick 5 cubic feet of dirt around. Depends on how long, I guess. There's a wholly new part of the city down. Maybe no one's watching some of those places.
Even 5 foot at a time, we'd have to start somewhere not in range of where they can see, and then go down 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot like that. I think that might take too long.
I mean, realistically, that's 50 feet a minute, I think.
Something to think about. What do you all think? And actually, I want you all to talk about it amongst yourselves. I have to take a quick break to refill and empty. So we'll be back in just a second.
I mean, we can go a full murder hobo, which might not be if we take out the people with the amulets. We don't know what the wall can do, honestly. We just bring everyone inside and then go full murder hobo.
I mean, yeah, we can just not be morally ambiguous and be just straight up evil for once.
I'm pretty sure the Red House prefers not to do that. Make life miserable.
I mean, I do like the idea of the rats going into the field. At least to start off with.
I also like the idea of continuing on Iflo's, or the idea of Iflo, and go around and burn down a couple of fields and trick others. But first, I need that goddamn armor off his ass.
We should see if we can get a pro in the city, definitely. That will probably try to identify the armor, and perhaps it has some sort of command word that enables it to be moved. At very least we actually know what it does and what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, if not, we just put the body back together, we animate the corpse, we have a zombie with an artifact level armor go wreck shit. If only. I want to say, maybe if we're lucky. Hey, Grim, can we be level 5 now? We just took down a lot of shit. Pretty pleased with sugar on top. And I just learned fly, and we just fly like boatloads of rats over the gate. Ride of the Valkyrie style.
Tenzo's floating disc them in.
Tenzo's floating disc doesn't work with heights, actually. You can only be 5 feet above the ground or whatever. Or 1 foot, rather.
No, I totally didn't read the seal.
I think we just go with the Rat House for now, honestly. And then we probably can devolve it from there. And start grumbling about how the fuck is a package out for delivery for 4 hours, and then all of a sudden it's not fucking able to be delivered. I'm assuming the driver got lazy or some shit. You know? Because it's clear the rain's gone that was here last week. The weather's fucking nice, it's temperate out. No issues.
Alright.
I'm bitching about my package, excuse me.
So any ideas?
We kind of like the Rat House's idea with the fields and everything. Guts likes the idea of letting loose the rats of war, and I liked the idea of getting that armor off Iflo and then acting like him.
Okay.
You know, I like the idea of sending the rats into the field to plague them all.
Okay. Alright, that sounds good. We'll send the rats in to, well, take care of the fields as they were. They'll be going for damage, and believe me, they can do a good bit of damage when they put their mind to it. With luck, we'll be able to get the armor off of that kobold tonight. With everyone taking a crack at it, I'm sure it won't be such an issue. We'll head into the city. We still would like to, at the very least, get a introduction from you, as it were, and we'll set up somewhere selling our wares and peddling all our wares to make things seem extremely good for us. We'll leave most of the people here, I believe. It's always good to have some sort of camp to fall back to. Anything else? I mean, that's certainly good for a day. And then we can evaluate how things are going. Any other idea?
No.
Alright, so, well, there's no reason why we can't have the rats start to go ahead and do their work now. So we'll be sending them off tonight. And they'll be able to do a good bit of damage. Alright, I think this was quite successful. We have a plan, certainly at least. Does anyone have anything else they wish to add?
Does anybody have any bleach?
Bleach.
Never mind.
No.
I keep scrubbing.
Cultural differences. Okay, so with nothing else, if there's nothing else, is there anything else anybody would like to do, blah blah blah, before we go ahead and move to the night?
Also just the armor with.
Sure.
Try to roll a 15 for it. Ah.
Okay. Anybody else want to take arcane cracks at it?
I'm very
Yeah, I'll try it.
On that note, are we?
I am.
Guts, you should be giving advantage to like every single roll. You're a bard.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. I won't be that guy that keeps asking about
Out of
it.
curiosity here. Oh, look at that!
Tadpole is the arcane master.
You know?
I figured, he's a kobold. At least I got to try.
Okay. Well, a nat 20 is really, really good. There's a lot going on with this armor. and as you're working on it, I mean, it's certainly not something you recognize from histories or anything like that. It wouldn't, its name wouldn't come up. I mean, frankly, can you imagine a kobold being talked about, even one that's heroic? But the armor is doing a lot of things, even right now. And probably the most interesting thing that it's doing is that it is somehow still sustaining Iflo. It has possibly, you don't quite understand the nitty-gritty of it, not being, you know, the wizardy type, but through whatever it might be, intuition, legends of your people, something like that, it's somehow trapping its soul inside in the armor. And that it's also tied to another location somehow. And you're not quite sure where, you're not quite sure how, but there's something about it again, whether a gut feeling or one time you happen to see a ring that would do something similar. But you get the impression that at any time it could... Well, not even quite that. There's some sort of tying to a far-off place, in that maybe it's still drawing energy from it, or who knows.
Okay. Well, I'll pass that on.
And, you know, the information's passed along.
With that information, like, down by the Crenshaw down here, we do have a free cage.
I want to can we open the house? Can we open stuff up? Can we see inside it all?
If we are going to be spending the night, having everyone pretty much take a turn, we are almost 100% positive we will be able to sort of force the helmet off. Probably not the best for the armor, presumably, but it'll come off.
I accept.
You accept that?
Mend it.
Are we all good with that location or decision?
Absolutely. I want to see that head.
Rather the people who
make the armor, it's mundane then, probably easier to fucking move that.
So that's basically what the night's activities are, and it's, you know, the rat folk have a habit of turning everything into a contest and a celebration at the same time, and tonight's no different. As the food is going and the alcohol is flowing, it becomes the thing of the night to go and take a couple of whacks at this armor. You know, whether by sledgehammer, by chisel and small hammer, by trying to heat up welds and whatnot, excuse me. That's what we're trying to go about doing, and we seem to be making it work. I would like a D20 from everyone in the party. Just a straight D20. Highest number wins.
Damn. Look at that.
17, 18, 19, 20, and 6.
I'll never say I have good luck with that.
Let's get all these rolls out now. So, Rick, you finally manage to get this thing off. How do you go about doing it? What is the final thing that opens up this armor?
Literally sneeze.
Can I just be like savage ass and grab my glaive and like take it off like a can opener?
You can. You can either, like, you know, work it over and work it in. You manage to find purchase into it. You sort of inch by inch make it around, and basically the head of it pops off. Everyone's standing around at this point because, you know, it's the thing to do, frankly. And then there's just... Go ahead.
Well, if everyone's looking, Rick's just going to have a quick flex after getting it off.
Sure. After popping it off and before anything else happens, you sort of and do your gun show impression a little bit. But everyone else is noticing that something's happening. There's just a huge pop, and then just gallons and gallons of this purple liquid just come pouring out of this armor, from both the head and from the now headless part of the armor. It's just rushing out at an incredible speed. Like, it's not going to flood or anything like that, but it's certainly just rushing out way more liquid than would possibly be in something like this. And once it's empty, it and the armor disappear.
What did you do?
Sort of runs off to the side and hides in the corner where people aren't looking at it.
With what? The armor?
It does. It doesn't actually run off to the side. It just sort of vanishes.
Did he just respawn?
Probably.
And all you're left with is this sort of purplish goo.
I'm gonna take a vial of that.
What does the goo taste like?
Hey, Tadpole, you said this was bound to somewhere else somehow?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I guess he's there now. But this is supposed to keep him alive.
The goo tastes like, rotting kobold? I don't know if you would have ever tasted that, but it smells pretty horrific, too. It's like if, you know...
It would probably be an unfamiliar taste.
It's like if you ducked off eggs.
If a kobold were sitting somewhere for a long, long time.
Oh, I recognize that smell. Liquid.
And everyone's sort of just standing around, looking at each other, and going, "What? What?" And all eyes are kind of turned on you, Rick.
So the armor self-sustains him, traps his soul, and it's probably a goddamn kobold glitch of some weird persuasion. God damn it.
Did I
At least he dies like a little bit.
understand anything of what happened when he turned purple?
No.
I'm just gonna look at everyone confused as they are.
It was freaky. Yeah, but everyone's convinced in their heart of hearts it was your fault.
Good job, Rick.
Well, they can
Way to
fight.
go. Way to go, Rick.
Chol speaks up. That's not exactly something you see every day.
Want to take bet he's gonna be back in the morning trying to kill us. Any takers?
I don't know if that's something I would take. Well, I guess the question is the...
What about his mace and his,
Still there.
Alright.
I guess the question is, does that change our plans anymore? Are we...
Probably not.
We can't
Let's
dress
see.
up as him, but we can certainly you can just stay out of sight and start causing a little field issue, right?
Hmm.
All right. Well, that's something. And the two mages are sort of prestidigitationing over and over again, trying to clean up this blah.
This would seem unfamiliar to Rick. So he would probably go up to Tadpole and say, do all of you turn purple?
Oh, no. Nope. We just decompose just like everybody else.
Into purple.
All right. The rest of the night goes as the night typically goes. Even though they don't have anything to do, they're not particularly worried. Again, at this point, Zoosh is out of the tent and is being quite popular. She's, again, sort of drinking heavily. Maybe not as heavily as she's been doing previous nights. She's sort of starting to learn her lesson, but, you know, it's, again, sort of a tough lesson to learn sometime. And there are certainly folks kind of hitting on her. So, Guts, you normally hang around Zoosh fairly well. Are you encouraging this? When you're being wingman... Because I know exactly what a guy means when he says being wingman. But what do you mean? Are you encouraging this behavior? Are you discouraging? What's going on?
Well, is the guy cute? Well, what does he look like?
If it's Skog,
Or is it
no.
a girl? Or is it a girl? Who is it?
It's mostly young men. I mean, they're average. You know, average for this sort of time period. I mean, they're fairly well built. They do day labor and whatnot. They're by no means ripped, but they're all right.
All right. Does Zoosh seem to be interested in any of them?
Zoosh does not seem to be romantically interested in any of them. She's interested in talking. She likes the attention, but she's not... You know, there's no batting of eyelashes or eye frills or whatever.
That sounds painful.
Well, I'm taking the role of big sister here, so I'm gonna try and want to vet these guys. Well, shoot. I want them to be, if they're gonna go after her, I want them to be nice. What?
We need to find a royalty so we can call in favors.
You know, nobody particularly seems mean. Everybody is a little on the aggressive side towards each other, as I've mentioned before within the camp. You know, things start to go real quickly to fights and whatnot before... say the normal people would do, but they're not like, you wouldn't think they're typically bad people. Like, you know, no one's...
like, are they being like super aggressive with their flirting? Like, what are they saying to her?
They wouldn't be super aggressive with it, but, you know, things get a little risque. There's a little bit of flexing and whatnot going on, a lot of bragging. She is starting to get some not so great looks from the females in the company as well. Because at this point, you know, she's new. She's a new face. She's pretty exotic, and for lizard folk, she's cute.
I love the little question at the end. She's cute.
That wonderful tattoo is just breathtaking, you know.
Sure, that face brand really does it.
Really does it. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna interfere, but if she doesn't seem to be picking up on it, I'm gonna keep an eye out and see if anyone, like, if she seems to hit it off with anyone. If she does, I'll encourage it. If she doesn't seem to be hitting it off with anyone in particular, I'll kind of shoot him away.
Like, she's oblivious to it, frankly. You know, she's very young. She doesn't think quite the same way about people. She doesn't realize they're hitting on her. I'm sure you've known that person before in some aspect of something. She certainly loves the attention, but, you know, it's leaving people kind of frustrated.
I mean, what I mean though is, like, if she seems to be getting along with someone really well, I'd encourage it. But if she's not, if she just seems to be treating everyone the same, then
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody the
I'll-
same.
okay. Then I'll for now I'll just Is it a group of guys around her, or
Yeah,
is it just
yeah.
like, oh, Well, I'm going to drape my arm over her and say, "Hey, let's go get some drinks. I think, it's getting a little. I don't know about you, but it's getting a little hot over here. Like, I don't know if it's your guys' body heat or whatever, but I could use some refreshment. Let's move this way."
She's a bit confused, but, she's willing to be pulled along by you without any, trouble or anything like that. You mentioned more drinks, and she's all about it.
That's what I thought.
Rachel before Monica.
What? Come on.
You kidding? Monica's where it's at.
Honestly, Phoebe was always my favorite.
I like Phoebe.
Oh yeah. Oh, why do I always forget Phoebe? Yeah, her.
But sure, do you at that point sort of keep the rest of our quote-unquote suitors away?
Yeah,
Or are we having a heart-to-heart?
I'll save that for another day. If this happens again, yes, we'll have a heart-to-heart, and I'll explain the birds and the bees.
Okay.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees.
The flowers and
that
the
almost
trees.
hurt.
Don't lizard folk have
Yeah,
eggs
lost
though,
the
so
key.
wouldn't their birds and bees be?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What did you say?
It's not a conversation that's ever come up before.
The things that come up.
I mean, presumably some of the things that happened a couple episodes ago, things don't work quite the way they work within normal lizard folk.
What?
Ah, shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe it might be best to keep guys away from here.
All right. So the rest of the night is spent, for you at least, by herding gentleman callers away, or rather by herding her away from gentleman callers. You would probably attract some attention, Tadpole. It wouldn't be a lot, frankly, but sure.
No one
I mean,
likes kobolds.
These are people who generally associate on a daily basis with rat folk. They're used to the maybe even slightly peculiar. No offense.
What about me? Is anyone flirting with me or Rick? This big, strong lizard man? The Dragonborn?
God, are we really turning this into date?
To date sim. About 8 days in, you'd get some flirting. Probably pretty much everybody would. They appear to be a pretty free people when it comes to things like that. We're not really going to paint details or anything like that. But...
So, they're just very hedonistic. Let's leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. So, we're going to move on past this. It is now the morning of the 9th day. The drinking didn't go on quite as much as it normally does. We didn't break out the spirits or anything like that. People were trying to, sort of clear these barrels. That's a pretty common thing. Happens regardless as whether they're trying or not. But we're here, we're gathered up. The rest of the group is actually up at a decent time for once, which again isn't something that normally happens. Shoal comes up to you and goes, "All right then. Can you think of anything that we may need before we head into the city?
Does bug spray count?
I don't think we have enough of that with us.
Just keep your swords handy.
Right. So I take it things in the city are a bit tense at the moment.
In the city, not so much. I mean, we cleared most of that up yesterday. But if those Kuthrik have been stirred up, let's say, by us yesterday, then they might have started roaming.
Right. And they could be an issue. Alright, I think we're actually going to have Kives stay. Well... Gabriel and Loris still have work to do. With those things about, we might as well have Skarg stay. We'll be smart about this. I'll go, and then we'll bring the ladies with us as well. All right. Let's get things suited up. Or not suited up. Set, and we'll get ready to head off.
Regulated.
And they go about loading up a couple of wagons with goods and whatnot. Some of the things they brought with them, you know, it had been sort of piled up, sitting largely neglected. Again, you know, I mentioned there's silks and whatnot, just jewelry, high quality goods, things of that nature. Not so much in the way of magical items, but pretty much anything else. So you are not attempting to smuggle rats into the city, correct?
I thought we were, with barrels.
I think that was an option, but the last I remember, we didn't say we wanted to go with it. The last thing, remember, we were letting the rats run rampant into the fields. We were going to do some damage to said fields ourselves, trying to blame it on Iflo, and then we were going to just head into the city with them.
Alright.
I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me.
Anyone, any thoughts?
No. Oh yeah, what? The horses that we had yesterday, what was the deal with them? Were they on loan or what?
After I'm done using the restroom and you're done playing with your friends, can I play Sims because Hanna and Ben are
When
gonna
Grim
take
gets
it?
Honey, I'm playing on
Yeah.
the thing.
I
I'm
said
sorry.
after you're done.
In my package,
Maybe, but it'll.
details, being pissed off about
You can't play the
UPS.
Sims while
Dun, dun,
they're
dun.
here, unless they're taking a nap.
So I hand the cloak off.
But I'm going to be playing for a couple of hours still.
I'll get Grim to
You know,
repost.
I'm
its
sorry,
stats and
kiddo, but
everything.
that's what Wednesdays are like. Sorry about that. Kids are home and all that, so there may be some distractions at this point.
It's fine.
Is it like a hub or something? That I'm missing?
Cheers. Frozen.
That 30 was a 3-die.
Yes.
Oh, is it on 3 charges?
It's actually only on a single charge left. It started with 3.
Oh, dang. Okay.
It does add 1d8 at a time still.
Yeah. But we need to catch the Hesters.
But you need to catch the Hester rabbits.
Speaking of that, then, at some point, like, basically whenever there's downtime, I'll spend hunting for them then.
Okay.
And I mean, like, yeah, I'll be taking some to take with us, well, once we leave this area.
Make sure you get both sixes so you can get them to breed. I can imagine
that
you
works. That
very
works
long,
with
Scott.
help.
Okay. Well, that's something you're going to be doing during your downtime, but I missed part of the conversation, obviously, while my kiddo was talking to me, so I kind of missed whatever it was you were saying.
Before you left and while you were gone, or just
Like just now, just a couple seconds ago. We were saying something about the rats, maybe? I don't know.
not rats.
Whether-
Deciding what to do with them and stuff. I mean, I'm still happy to, or Janeon's still happy to try putting some in his card if we could put a covering over it. Because yeah, I doubt they'd look at Janeon's card, especially if we have.
Okay. So we want to
How
try
are we getting these rats? How are we obtaining the rats?
The rats are not an issue. The rats actually came with the caravan. They are in a sense tamed as well. They speak with them. They're part of the group that came out. They are certainly smarter than the average rat, but far from an intelligence of their own, though. They can, do small orders which can be relayed to them fairly quickly, but no complex thinking or anything like that. So they can theoretically be told to keep things down for a while, and they will generally listen unless there's some sort of stimulus that makes them do something else. You can't do it in here, kiddo. You can play with your Switch, but that's about it. Okay.
Well.
So, you still want to try smuggling some in?
I have no overbearing want or qualms against it. I was just saying it was still ability.
Okay.
If we're happy to just let them do the field work, literally, then I'm happy with that.
Does anyone particularly want to do so? To try to smuggle rats in?
I wouldn't mind. But I'd probably do that on the second time when you leave, I guess. Come in and out, kind of.
Does anyone not wish to do it particularly?
No, rats are dirty. I'll eat them, but that's
literally
about it.
surrounded and getting hit on by.
You might get a couple of glances.
Getting disappointed that he's not getting hit.
All right, so for now, I think we're going to say that no, we are not attempting to smuggle rats in. Okay?
Sure.
Correct.
So we journey over to the city. Does not take us very long. Again, since Zeus is here, Zeus will be our person, and we are met with the guards. And they notice you, and they're seemingly happy to see you. They're certainly not dicks about it. But, they see you quite before, and they wave to you. When you get close, they speak with you. Hello! What will you be doing today?
Before I answer them, are any of them that fucking child? That man-child guard?
The one that was playing with your weapons?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not...
Good.
There are two guards there. They are both different faces.
I'm still half tempted to give that motherfucker a Fey holiday.
Oh, time moves differently in the Feywild. You think you're banishing them for 6 seconds. They've been there for years. They have a family, a life commitment, and then just pop back all of a sudden.
Yeah, they went through the whole depression of losing their life once and then rebuilt it and then come back to fight.
I like to think there's just another person in the Feywild also with a boomerang throwing it at them to make.
And that's how they come back.
But no, in that case, if none of them are that guy, then hi, it's us again.
I see, and you've brought some friends as well.
Oh yeah, these are our caravan.
And he certainly seems to be shocked to see them. Everybody else who's pretty much seen these rat folks have reacted certainly in a not very positive way, and he is no different. What do you have there?
What goods are on display as we move into the city?
Like, what goods do you have with you?
I'm assuming they have some goods on display in the carts and stuff as we're coming in out of character.
Nothing's really on display. Things are sort of packed away.
Okay.
Looks like the plan is to go somewhere, open market, and then set up.
We about to invent car boots.
You broke up. I'm afraid I couldn't.
Yeah.
That's it. Are we about to invent car boots?
Like, I heard you, but I still have no idea what you said. Car boots?
Sales.
I think there's a cultural barrier here.
Yeah, they may not have swap meets and stuff.
Are they?
Oh, okay, swap
flea
meets. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Essentially a swap meet.
Gotcha.
Sorry, wrong slang.
Basically, like, you go in there, there's chef in your trunk, you do a swap meet. Okay, yeah, no.
Sure. But they're not, when they're questioning what is that, they're not questioning your goods. They're questioning the people.
Oh, we know. Like, oh, this trading caravan, we're bringing in the trade goods like we promised we would.
He's sort of giving you that sort of slack-jawed opening and closing mouth that you guys are definitely used to at this point. What are they?
I think we got some silks, some wood, some fine antiquities.
No, not that. Not what you're bringing. What are they? He sort of squints and looks closer. He goes,
Racist.
Rats?
They prefer rat folk.
Right. They don't have any diseases, do they?
No good, sir.
They're businessmen.
I mean, technically.
They really are quite well kept, actually, so no. Oh, I mean, technically, yeah, but... Haha. Haha.
They do have diseases? I don't think they can come in then.
No, this was out of character.
Just out of character, Technically, yeah, we're about to let in an entire plague of diseased rats. And even worse than that, it's lycanthropy. Like one of the worst diseases.
Are we the bad guys?
It's not a disease.
Are we the baddies?
It's a ritual.
I don't
This
think
version of lycanthropy, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Do I even know about this lycanthropy?
You do not.
Aware? Okay. All right.
Technically, I don't think they can spread it because of the ritual they use to purge the curse. I think maybe Gabriel and them can. I'm assuming if they're not born with it, they can spread it through them because they're the the bad eggs, so to speak.
That's not something that's actually come up during the conversation, so you wouldn't actually know. It's a good guess, sure, but you wouldn't know if it's spread from them or not, or even from the others.
But I'll go on like, good sir, they are fine and well-kept merchants of the trade. Of the trade, even.
Right.
It's not the rats that carry disease and stuff, it's the fleas in them, and they're all well-kept, I can assure you that much.
So they don't have fleas?
No. You might, though. You look a bit, no offense there, a little bit dirty.
Hey, now!
I run up and start brushing off his clothes and polishing his boots.
Stop that, sort of pushes you away and pushes you off. And if you keep on, he keeps on pushing you off. He's not trying to hurt you, mind you, when he's pushing you.
Well, I'm going to try to pick his pocket while I'm doing that.
All right,
Oh,
let's
man,
get sleight of hand.
You know, you should know this. This kobold's lived here for years, man. You know how she is.
You're just so dirty.
You're successful. You managed to get 2 gold.
Woohoo!
It was his lunch money. I hope you feel happy.
I do.
Right. Well,
Keyword being was.
No, she's cleaning you of all things. You know I'm not really that far off.
look,
No,
keep him
she
on a
is.
short leash.
We're just gonna be setting up in the square. Don't worry. I'll be sure to invite the mayor down.
At about this point, Joel, who's been, giving some raised eyebrows, but has been rather diplomatic about the whole things, and goes, we are actually their employers. They actually work for us. And again, the guard goes,
Did I say care? And I meant benefactors.
Same difference.
That's... Alright, well then... Welcome to Aberton. Thank you for helping us out and not burning our city down.
Whatever happened with that trio, by the way?
Well, right now they're just sort of rotting in jail. We're not entirely sure what to do with them. Turns out they were sent here, right, again, on the mayor's request, but it turns out that they might have some connections. And we can't just, he sort of does the neck to thumb thing,
Why not?
Well, again, those connections are kind of the royal variety, it appears.
Politics, that's always a fun time.
Indeed. So how long are you staying?
What do you say, Troll? What are our visiting hours today?
Well, we'll certainly be staying for the day, possibly even tonight, depending how things going. We've got plenty of stuff that we're bringing in to sell. We've heard that you've had some issues getting in some of the higher quality goods that we can provide, of course, but it's not much of a worry for us, and, well, from where we come from, honestly. Things like this are rather commonplace. All right. Well, that sounds fine. Head on in. There's a free spot on the other end of the city. We often set up as a marketplace down there, but mind you to stay away from the walls. Well, I'm sure you probably already know, but they've been a bit grabby lately.
Hey, Guts. Hey.
Yes. What?
No, I was just thinking about you and going up and high-fiving the wall.
Oh. Okay, I thought it would be funny.
Oh, it was funny as
It
fuck.
was.
It was hilarious.
I thought they would see me as one of theirs.
You almost were one of them.
Oh, yeah, you make a good point.
Right. Well, we'll head in and we'll set up then, all right? All right. And you head in, and you set up, and you go through town. And as you're heading through town, people are, for the most part, happy to see you, at least the party. Even you, Tadpole, since you're associating with them at the very least, you're getting a lot more waves and nods and thank yous than you're certainly used to working in the inn.
All right, very cool.
Get the respect you deserve, finally.
Yes, absolutely.
While people continue to go sit up and everything, I just tell the party quickly that I'll be back shortly, and then split off from them. And then I'm going to head and go towards where the Potter's house was and see if I can see her.
I'm going to look around. If this is the marketplace, look around for a goddamn pearl.
Okay. So we will. Whoops, let me just get some things out the way.
Because we never actually had the Potter confirmed killed or alive still, so...
Correct.
We
We
could have
will
asked the guards, probably.
move
I'm
over
looking for any stray dogs or cats.
to the marketplace. Again, not a ton of stray animals in there. Anything
Yeah.
that...
Doesn't mean I'm not looking.
yeah,
It's that goddamn dress merchant from the city. Get him.
it is.
He followed us here.
I warned him I better never see him again.
I only have so many maps for this. But you set up your carts, and they go about it with a fairly practiced air. They know what they're doing. It's something that they're certainly used to doing. They set up their displays. They set up everything. They have samples of whatnot. They have booze. They have a little bit of everything. Lots of jewelry, silks, very, very expensive things comparatively. Everything is pretty much quality, though. And without long, word starts to get out that there's some merchants around here with some high-quality goods. Now, Janeon, I would like for you to give me an investigation roll, please.
Will do.
And I'm afraid I will be back in about 30 seconds. It's that time again.
Why am I getting low roll today?
Because you killed the true paladin of... What the fuck is the good dragon dance name again?
Yeah.
The one that's not
I don't
Tiamat.
know what that was, but that was no.
And I wasn't the one that killed him.
Right? But fuck is it Tiamat and...
Tiamat's the five-headed dragon.
Yeah, the Tiamat's the evil one.
Dragon queen.
Bahamut. You
Oh,
killed
yeah,
the true paladin of Bahamut. Some bullshit. We're probably still carrying all these Kuther corpses.
You're looking for dragons? Like Puff, the magic dragon?
Yes, that is one of the many dragon gods.
I worship the dragon Puff.
So, you ask around, and no one's seen her. That much is certain, and you can ascertain without any problems. The guards are kind of keeping people away from the scene as well. It's done a bit more damage than you think, or originally may have thought. If we slide back to the map real quick, we're going to denote in this lovely little black with an X. The following buildings have been pretty much burnt down. It's pretty much this entire side. Things are not great in at least that little bit right there. And with that much damage, there's not a lot of evidence. You're not really picking through things, because again, the guards are kind of stopping people at the moment from heading on in. But yeah, nobody's seen this person, but there are other people who are missing, and certainly the missing people are presumably dead. There's still wreckage and stuff in the middle of it. They're sifting through from the edges. It's only been a day, but no confirmation one way or another.
Is it is it because people can't get into the burnt down buildings because of
they're having to move slowly, big wooden building, you got to move beams, you got to move them somewhere and all that, and there's honestly not a lot of people working on it. People were working on putting the fire out as a group, but the recovery and rebuilding process is not a group effort.
I'm going to... Which of the buildings was the Potter's building?
The one with the red X on it, yeah.
I'm going to use a charge
from my medallion and kind of scan the area just for any brain signals, I guess. So I'm not actually probing for thoughts, just the existence of thoughts, which I think was an ability of it.
Give it a post, because I'm not so sure it is.
Yeah. I'll give it a post too.
All right.
Does it have to be directed at someone?
You can also use this to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything from the wreckage. I mean, there's certainly people about and out doing things with the wreckage and all that, but like from the wreckage itself, you're not getting anything.
Well, that's enough. It's enough for Janeon at least.
Okay. Are you going to head back to the rest of the group?
Yeah, I'll head back to the rest of the group at this point.
Okay. You head back to the rest of the group, and I remember to move. Whoops.
Pass on that I couldn't exactly confirm 100%, but people are saying that she hasn't been seen, and there's no one alive that my medallion could pick up around in that area.
All right. At this point, everything's set up. Again, a lot of people are starting to come in to check out what's going on. The four women of the group have sort of wandered off at this point. They've, sort of been doing a lot of flirting with people who've come up. They were definitely trying to attract people like that. They're sort of met with mixed results. They're attractive for what they are, but they're very, very alien for these people as well. That certain kind of person likes that, certain kind of person doesn't like that. So again, it's pretty hit or miss. They speak to Troll, and they say that they're going to be heading over to the inn, or excuse me, the tavern, King Gaunter's cellar, and have been going to sort of do their thing there. And so they leave Troll and the rest of you to sort of sell the wares. As you're setting things up to begin with, Troll speaks with you. He goes, "Look, I'm not particularly concerned with making a profit off of selling things. We want to make sure we're sending out that where we come from is exceedingly rich. Things like this are commonplace, and so we're selling things at a very cheap price. I'm going to be trusting you to doing some of the talking, though. Are you all fairly comfortable with that?"
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Great. Again, the important thing to get out is where we come from, how good we're doing, and things of that sort of nature.
Where do you come from?
Have you not...
We've been busy. There's a lot of giant insects and teleporting kobold corpses.
So you haven't had this talk at all?
No, I've been washing dishes and mending cloaks. Trying to get blood out of a cloak.
I see. Goodness. We come from a place we call the Shifting City. And as an OOC thing, I'm probably going to call it the Shitty City at least 30 or 40 times. So, just... It sort of rolls off the tongue like that.
Yes, okay.
I almost did it right there. It's a giant city that we live in, and every 30 days or so it sort of shifts to another realm of existence, as it were.
Have you been eating the mushrooms growing along the side of the road? I think
I know it's hard to believe, especially with a name like Shifting City.
But that's certainly what happens. It's huge. We're several days away from it now, but it's goodness.
Okay, sure. We'll just go with that. Wink, wink.
Right. But anyways, what we do is we go out and we find the resources we need for the city to survive.
You find racehorses to survive?
Things like food and other things of that nature.
Okay.
I can't believe they didn't tell you about this.
Oh, that's okay. It's all good.
You're kind of busy, so...
Yeah, it's all good. Good. One of these days, you can tell me the truth. We'll just go with that story for now.
Well, that is the...
Sure. You don't need to worry about me, really. We'll just go with it.
Of course. Sooner or later, we'll tell you the truth, I'm sure.
Sure, okay.
For now, just stick with us.
Sure, absolutely.
It would probably benefit you, or us, if you did say that you've been to the city. You've seen it, of course, and been there.
Of course.
Streets paved with gold, that type of thing. Maybe not quite so strong as that, but you get the general idea.
Yes. Got it. So do we see any patrons yet?
There's pretty much lots of people. Even when you were setting up.
I'm going to go to the first person. Let me tell you about the shitty city that these people come from. It's a fantastic, even though it's a shitty city, they have lots of good stuff in it. That's why they're selling stuff really cheap. People don't like living in the shitty city, but it's a really neat place because it's a shitty city.
It's completely counterintuitive to us.
A shitty city?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they told him yourself. Where else would you expect rats to live? Come on.
I suppose that does make a lot of sense.
Yep. So get the deals while the deals are hot.
Right.
Yep.
You must overhear this.
Sure, I mean, you guys aren't far away.
What does this troll do?
Chol doesn't seem to do anything. Chol is waiting for you to make a move, it looks like.
Okay.
Let's go get him away from those potential customers.
Yeah.
Her, for the record. But...
Let's go get her away from these potential customers.
Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to sort of simulate the day's actions going on. I would like persuasion checks from everyone, and what we're going to do is we're aiming at a target number, and we are hoping to hit that number. If we would like to do other things mixed in with the day, we can. But unless you're telling me different, we're kind of working on selling through these things. Rubbing hands, putting words in mouths, that kind of thing. Building up the city fairly well.
Are there any good-looking weapons?
Are there any good-looking weapons? No. Things are sort of on the cheap end.
Tadpole to cleaning things and shining the way.
You could get simple things and whatnot at this market, but it's not a huge market. Weapons aren't primarily what they're doing. It's not a huge city. Let me count this up on my calculator because I'm terrible. Ooh, that was so close to a 1. Alright, and we think we do a pretty well job. We don't really make anything as profit goes, because, well, funnily enough, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to let things go very cheap, so I suppose that's not ironic at all. That's our goal. But it's starting to get late in the evening. And Chol goes, alright, I think we should go ahead and pack things up and head back to the tavern and see how the rest of the girls are doing. Any objections?
Nope.
No?
No.
Good for me.
Alright, and so that is pretty much what happens. There is a lot... Whoa, yeah, there's a lot of people here already. Hold on. there's a lot of chatter going on at the tavern. It seems as if rats have been spotted in the fields. And then there's a lot of talk going on. It doesn't take a genius to make a connection between rats going through the fields, sort of ravaging said fields, and there being giant bipedal-looking rats here in the city. And not only that is here in the city, but here in the inn. Because, again, the 4 females are going about making friends, if you will. And again, sort of the same people that we've seen around the bar are the same people who are around the main bar again, which is the 4 head people that we've seen. But again, it's packed. People are coming in. They're very interested in seeing these exotic rat folk. It's probably not strange to think that it'd be something that people from the plane have never seen before. So again, you're going to come in, you're going to see something new. Glancing around, Peter, who happens to be the owner of the inn, looks pretty much ecstatic. He's, selling these beers. He's doing tons of business. When you all come in, he sees you, Tadpole, and he looks extremely annoyed.
Sorry, I'll get right to it.
What are you? It's been days. Where have you been?
Doing what you told me to do, to deliver the alcohol and to service the clients.
That was days ago. It was probably about 2 days ago.
What? Really? Seemed like it just was a couple days ago.
You haven't been at your room or anything like that. Get to work.
I'm on it. Go grab my...
Customers losing me money. These customers aren't getting their food.
Okay.
Bob, you're spending all me money.
I go back to the kitchen and start cooking.
All right.
Do my grilled dog hearts.
The chef is happy to see you until you start making grilled dog hearts. But no, the chef is certainly happy to see you. He's been overworked and overstressed. Anyone would be in this situation with a bunch more people coming in, and people are definitely drinking.
Okay. So I'll spend my time between the kitchen and serving.
Okay.
Trying to listen in on any interesting conversations.
All right. That'll be you settled out. Adrian, is there anything particular you would like to be doing here in the inn? Or
I haven't had the chance to look for that pearl during the day.
You did. There are small pearls, so you can find them, but probably not worth the amount that you're looking, because you got to look for 100 gold worth, right?
I'll give you 100 gold for that pearl. Problem solved.
You could probably get $100 gold worth of pearls, but you've got no idea if that'll actually work.
Alright, then, if I can't make a roll for any luckiness, I'll just, for the tavern, I'll probably go find a lost.
You'll find what?
A lot.
Okay.
And I'm presuming we have the horses, so probably have the bodies on them still,
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll go find those 6 assholes that sit around all day.
All right, Guts, you. What would you like to do at the tavern?
I'll just wander around. Actually, no, I'll sit in the corner and try not to draw attention to myself.
Okay. So we'll pop you. All right, Rick. Anything in particular?
Nothing in particular. I'll probably just go sit over by some of the named people that Rick has known and met before.
All right. Janeon.
He orders some, like a big meal.
All right.
Like, have you ever seen Matt Stoney eat?
I haven't, but I can imagine.
Competitive eater size, yeah.
Okay.
And he starts eating.
Joel would make an effort to join in with these people as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump over to the conversation between Adrian, Rick, and Joel. And take it away, boys.
Oh, wait, is there actually space over there? No, there's not.
There is not an extra chair. I mean, you could certainly hang around.
No, I'll just be there so I can be close enough to hear.
Okay. So pretty much everyone's gathered around talking about what's going on. These fields are getting hit hard. You've seen the amount of those rats, Alas, that are out there when we scoped out. It's a swarm. I don't know what it's from. It's uncanny. We've barely had a problem with before. There's got to be some reason why we've had so many in this just last day, when we haven't had any before.
I'm gonna pipe in. Hey guys, we're having a thing or two to about that. I lost that nest of yours, or the one we have, I guess. Those Kruthwiks.
Yes.
Put it this way: not when we showed up, there was a hole. Well, where Mrs. Potter found those eggs. I proceeded to divert some of the river into said hole, and another hole popped up, and all 10 of them straight up jumped out and tried to kill us. We got their bodies outside. After that, 10 more showed up, and they chased us on horseback until they left their territory, more or less.
You saw 20 of them, and they chased you?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, Jan calls out from where he's sitting. We did kill 12 of them.
What?
No, 10 of them. How many did we kill?
There was 10 of them. We have some of their bodies on the horses outside.
It was 9, I'm pretty sure.
It was 10.
I like how the number keeps
No,
on going.
I'm saying that out of.
Gotcha.
It was 9. Out of character, it was 9 yet, but it was,
A little exaggeration.
It was
not hurt.
12. It was 12 guys, and they were flying and exploded.
Also, Mayor, we have other good.
Fire.
We have other good and bad news, or good and weird news for you.
Good and weird news?
We killed that kobold causing you issues, but then his armor is weird. It was keeping him, it was sustaining him almost, and then all of a sudden his corpse disappeared.
He looks at you very closely. And in particular, Eckert gives you just an incredibly hard stare.
Alas, you've used text magic before, Alas?
I have.
So you know how things react. You see the different colors, there's a certain brightness based on the power, right?
Right.
The armor he was wearing was like staring into the sun.
Damn.
Not sure how a kobold got an artifact level piece of armor, but whatever it is keeping him from being killed. Presuming it didn't just walk off on itself, that is.
There were reports of something like that happened, where some of the guards had supposedly killed him, and then he sort of vanished shortly after. We thought it was just a lie, frankly, in order to make him look good.
Oh no, we ripped his head off.
Did he turn purple?
Purple.
Did they say he turned liquidy and purple?
Some sort of goo or something that came out of its...
Yeah. I took out a vial where I kept it.
Well, I didn't see it, but that's... Damn, that's pretty much what the report was. Huh. I guess he wasn't lying.
But yeah, it seems like it's bound to some place. Some sort of reliquary or temple or hovel somewhere in the forest, I assume, where he keeps going back to. You have to find that and destroy that probably to get rid of him.
Bound to some place.
We did take his stick off.
Yeah, we took his enchanted mace, which was holy shit, and this weird, I don't want to say scarf he made out of the rabbits in the forest.
Huh. Those are... I mean, I've heard of the cloaks before. I presume you.
But yeah, that's
Oh
that
yeah,
issue.
I'm wearing that bucket.
Sure. Okay.
It's very strong.
Otherwise, yeah, he's a thing. I'll probably want to worry more about the crew thing.
I saw that crow.
So the Kuthrik, bring them in.
Yeah, sure.
Let's
Rick,
take a
wanna
look
give
at
me a
them.
hand?
And, you know, without too much effort or anything like that, you manage to bring them in. They've been sort of sitting all day, but again, it's not a huge issue.
Well, I got preservation magic.
look-
I'm sure I've used at this point.
Janeon also cleared you guys a base to put the bodies, apparently.
There you go.
You sort of slump them on the table right here. Like
Yeah,
a deer or a, you know.
You large goddamn deer, some small dogs. But yeah,
Like-
go ahead.
No, you got. I was
I was
just
gonna
gonna
say,
make sure.
the kobold, we actually ran into him and we saved him from being eaten alive until we knew who he was. We then beat the shit out of him. But yeah, according to him, we really pissed off their nest. We really rattled them. They're kind of angry. They did chase us for a few miles.
He starts sputtering, and this would be Jan, the mayor. Why are you just now telling us this? You've been here in the town all day.
Oh, well, we had our other jobs to do. Yeah. That and, you know, we have to make sure the caravan's okay. With all these issues we've been hearing about, we want people to blame them. If I may take a guess, I'm going to presume the Kruthic are kind of moving closer, and they're displacing the local wildlife as they go.
Oh, and then all the rats are coming south. I see.
You can see why we'd be worried about our friends in such a situation.
Indeed, and Alas speaks up. I suppose we owe you somewhat of an apology. Well, obviously the first thing that we thought was that it was your friends, to be frank with you.
Kind of racist.
Perhaps, but certainly one could not help but see why the conclusion was made. I'm sorry. And Chol sort of puts his hands up and goes, "No offense taken. We can understand the connection as well, but believe us, they're no friends of ours either. We may look the way we do, and frankly, although we are loath to admit it, we do look somewhat similar to them. But
Wow. Just throwing them under the bus.
but have no worries. I assure you that we have nothing in common with them. We're not related, other than our unfortunate outward appearance. And Jan sort of pounds the table and goes, "There's no time for any of that now. The Kuthrik are close. What are we going to do? We need to start working on defenses. We need to get more help. You've done a lot for the city so far. Would you be willing to give us a hand in our preparation of the defenses for the Kuthrik? If you've killed 10 of them or so far, that's more than any normal person could hope to best in any way, shape, or form."
What do you guys believe?
Okay.
Oh wait, I'm not there. Oops.
You're
What
not there,
happened?
but you are seeing that there is sort of a now animate discussion going on.
I
If you
cut
wish to
off
come
at,
over, you can.
I cut off at
I
no
will.
person. What was after that?
You cut off at where, sorry?
No person.
Basically, they were saying there's a huge issue. This is the thing we have to deal with now, these Kuthrik. You've done a lot to help the city. Why don't you help us prepare our defenses for the Kuthrik? They're going to be coming. You've killed 10 of them already. We certainly need help. It's not a thing we can do on our own.
You give a glance over to Chol.
Cho looks deep in thought, and he sort of gives you this, little hand wave 50-50 sort of deal. There's merits to helping, there's merits to not being a public figure to continue your work of actually undermining the city, of which your new goal is.
Oh, what the hell? We lost the goblin. We got a goblin back. I was going to probably say, what do you guys think? I would have character huddle.
I don't know. I think I just missed past like 2 talk.
Ooh. They're asking for help to prepare their
I caught that.
Okay. Well, then it's an OOC huddle. Chol goes 50-50 either way.
Well, it's possible if we help them. This is out of character. If it's possible if we help them, we can partially sabotage the defenses.
Hey guys, we know a safe place to go. Come into a van. We got candy.
Not only that, but I mean, I'm all down for a big group fight. Let's just go meet these things head on. Get the town guard, take them out with us. Use them as operation. Get behind the town guard, and just use them as a meat shield.
I mean, war is good for business.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we are good business.
all I can think is, why don't they put archers on the walls? Oh, wait.
You think by now they'd build scaffolding around the fucking skeletons?
Just 6 feet away. Just like a 6 feet away staircase or something.
Well, why would there need to be one?
For archers.
I
Yeah.
mean,
For the capability to be able to damage things more than 5 feet away.
from an outsider's perspective, that makes a ton of sense.
But for a village that almost never has to deal with outward threats.
Correct. All right, so there's a couple of options on the table. Several obvious, several of what we've said. We can help them, pretty much unequivocally trying to get on their good side, whether that involves going out and killing them in small packs or something. That can be a discussion for later. We can deny their help. We've said we've done too much already. We don't see the benefit. Try to get them to persuade us in some way. We can say they're going to help them, and we can start to sabotage them. Who knows exactly how? Again, that's a sort of discussion once we decide to do. We can sort of rally everybody together and try to charge headlong into the hive and hopefully lead all the guards to their death option that's been said.
Well, I was thinking more, try to take out their queen or something, but yeah, sure, take their guards and just kill them.
Oh, you were saying a legit fight. I thought you were saying sort of...
Oh, no, not just straight. Send them, basically use them as a spear tip into the hive, because I imagine it, if we went down in those tunnels, things would get fucky down there pretty damn quickly. So use the guards and stuff to get to the queen, and I reckon if we could kill the queen, something might happen.
Who knows?
Do I have third level spells yet?
No, we have not leveled yet. But this right here is a big decision. This is pretty much from where we are going from here. And I'm going to take 10 seconds and use the restroom. Because, you know, I'm that guy.
Probably say help them and decide what we do as we go.
Isn't that what we always do anyway?
Yeah, basically.
It's gonna be Operation Get Behind the Town Guard.
I really hope they wear black armor so we can just say Operation Get Behind the Darkies.
It would make it a whole lot easier.
Don't worry, it's only a flesh wound. Keep going. Come on, Black Knights.
But what if we did that? What if we got volunteers and went after the matriarch? We might be able to get them to split up and everything.
Like, or we could get the entire.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay, I hit the mute all button and I'm not sure whether we muted all.
I think we came to the conclusion of we're gonna help them with some, maybe discuss some sort of thing, and then probably just wing it as we go in terms of how we're messing with them and how we're making things work our way. I presume we brought Zush with us.
Okay. So we think right now that we're going to help them, but sort of sabotage them?
As the opportunities arise.
Okay.
So you might flick up the defense here, or you might save them here, you might shove the whole guard down the hole here, you know? It's up in the...
So we're all in favor of that?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. See where, like, agree to help them for now and see where it takes us.
Then we'll see. Okay.
My question is, what is Zeus doing?
Zeus is probably sticking fairly close to either Janeon or Guts. She does not seem to be particularly perturbed by Janeon and his current grossness.
Hey. Plus, I've got food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized we hadn't actually eaten properly in a day or two. It would have been like trail rations and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we get, like, fed really well from the...
You do eat pretty decently from the rat folk.
Yeah, true. But would they really have, like, meats and vegetables and all that stuff?
Certainly not as good as you
Or
could get
would
here
they-
in the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that we're doing, like, for the most part, good berries, and then they'd do, like, a communal meal at night, which would be, like, soups and stews and stuff like that. And there's a big difference between a stew and, like, an actual cooked ham hock and fresh bread and stuff like that.
I don't know, man. Stew's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, but when you've been eating it for 4 days.
Fair enough. All right, so are we ready to head back in? Make a decision and give it to them?
Yeah.
All right. So, will you help us? And he sort of looks between you and Chol. This is Jan talking.
I give him a look, like, we'll definitely do what we can while we're in the city.
All right, so, well, I suppose it's up for you and Eckert to discuss a plan then of what you'll be doing. It's frankly somewhat out of our wheelhouse. We, of course, we're used to petty crimes and whatnot, but we've never faced this. What is a full-on assault? I'll have to send out for reinforcements, I suppose. Perhaps the army could get here in time before these things start to come to us, and they'll be able to wipe them out, maybe.
Question on that note: how deep does that wall go underground?
Does the wall go? Well, I think it extends several feet, but I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure. It should stop them from burrowing through. They tend to stay on the surface. But if they tunnel down deep, well... No.
How deep are the tunnels we found?
Not extremely deep, about 10 feet or so.
I feel like that's kind of under the wall, isn't it? 10 feet under it.
I suppose you're right, or it's right on the edge, certainly.
Depends if they're smart enough. We should definitely be wary of some just burrowing up into the city, though.
We'd have to check through the library and through the stuff, but we might be able to make the wall head down deeper as well. It can be manipulated some, obviously.
Hive minds tend to be more intelligent the more of them there are, and this seems to be a big hive.
All right.
Could always try speaking Mantis people, if that maybe they understand it.
Alas, speaks up. I don't think there's been any documented case about speaking with them and them speaking back.
I mean, who knows?
Didn't have any documented cases of blue rocks talking either.
No,
and yet, we've met that.
There's a bunch of architects back in the city. They're of an insectoid persuasion. It's really hard to speak the language without the extra mandibles, honestly.
Yeah, how would you even manage that, Adrian? Like,
I assume I make a lot of clicking noises. How does one speak this children?
How does one speak Zixchil?
Is there a lot of clicks and stuff?
It is.
Yeah, I just started clicking about how we shall make the wall go deeper in this.
How you would go about making the wall go deeper?
No, I just say we shall make the wall go deeper in this. Kind of like a declaration.
Is that in better?
That is much better. Like, they have their own way of making the wall go deeper, they believe. They got to do some research on it, but they think they can do it without outside help. I'm ever so slightly lost about what you're wanting to do.
I was just saying a thing. I was just speaking this joke.
Gotcha.
But hey, do you guys know? This is just on the side. You guys know where I get some smell components around here?
Well, we might have a little bit around the mercenary or monastery or the temple. Goodness. And there might be some things that you can pick up from the marketplace, but
I couldn't find it. I was just looking for a pearl to identify in case we run into that kobold again.
We could probably scrounge up a pearl that large with a little bit of time.
It'll be on the to-do list. Maybe we could figure out how it does and use it against the crew thing. I'm sure he's liable to pop up in the next day or two.
But the more pressing matter is, what do we do about these things? We've shown that we have quite the weakness against them for the moment. We'll have to keep pretty much constant surveillance on them to make sure they're not coming towards us. My men aren't really built for that. We'll have to do some... Goodness. If these things attack in force, I don't think there's anything we can do about it.
How have you guys usually defended the city before? I mean, I'm sure people besieged the place before there was a battle here that made the wall.
Well, no, that's the thing. There hasn't been practically since the war and the wall was put up. I mean, we don't have anything we would want for it, and the wall generally keeps people safe. No one's ever wanted to, frankly, destroy us before. The Kutheric haven't been seen in quite some time, and certainly not in this area of the world.
How many guards do you have in total in the city?
Well, we've got about 30 dedicated guards, and then we have somewhat of a militia, of course. There's probably another 40 people in that, but past the 70 of us, not really anyone.
How many brave ones?
He sort of hits his head to side. Brave as in charging into the Kutheric?
With a plan, not just haphazardly running it.
Well, I'd like to think most of them could, manage to go with it with the proper incentives and all, but we're not an army. We're a militia. I mean, they know it's what they're here for, but they're a militia, and we are guardsmen. It's our job, sure, but we're no strangers to putting our lives on the line, but this is something different.
This is not a thief in the night and breaking into a house. We do understand that.
Well, exactly. I mean, right now everyone's quite on edge, obviously. It seems like everything's shoveling shit on us right now.
How many people live here on that road?
Hereabouts 1,000 or so. There are some farms a little bit farther away from the city itself, but a good many.
How does one defend a city against the whole thing of bugs?
Troll speaks up at around this point. He goes, if things come worse to worse, you could come to where we come from. We have large numbers of people, a few days' travel away from here. I'm not saying we do anything now, but if it looks like the city is going to be lost, if nothing else can be done, the most important thing is keeping the people alive, right? We can move. It's not cowardice, it's just good thinking, of course. And everyone's kind of silent on that one.
I mean, there is always that. Our city can easily take 1,000 people.
Your city. They're 3 days away. There's no city 3 days away.
And there will be again in about 20 days.
What?
It's difficult to explain. We come from a place where we move every about 30 days.
It's quite nomadic, if you ask me.
So like a tent city, I see, and you're just traveling through.
Kind of, but not tents. Like, imagine What's the capital city of this land?
Well, it's Arkash.
Oh, imagine Arkash, but I would imagine possibly even bigger. And then it comes and goes as it pleases.
It's alive?
In a way, yeah.
I mean, if there's a giant hermit crab underneath it, I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form, to be honest.
We live on the back of a giant turtle flying through the dimensions.
Or Discworld. Have you ever heard of the Disc?
You're getting a lot of strange looks, of course, from the people that you're around, but at the same time, you know, there's a new species that no one's ever seen before. It kind of leads credence. And
If you go a certain days away in whatever direction we came from, you'll find a large stone city there. They probably won't let you inside. The guards are kind of testy that way. But if you're with us, down to the fact we came through the back door too, I'm sure there wouldn't be any issue.
Or at least less issue.
Do they even? I don't think. Do they deal with people coming out that gate a lot even?
Troll, can you enlighten?
How would that work? I know the other gate's prepared for it, but how is that gate?
there would be people on that gate as well, but you know, it's the thing that's quote unquote not done to head through that gate. So, you know, while certainly people would, there's much fewer people. But the process, of course, is the same as going through the main gate.
Okay.
Maybe this is something we should check out.
I mean, it does seem. We should definitely find a record to see how big the hive's been before, but this definitely seems like it's
something to pursue. Alas speaks up and goes, of course I've never seen much of the Kuthrik, but I certainly know about them from books and records and whatnot of the temple. I think we should give some serious credence to the thought of, well, I hate to say it, but abandoning the town and moving to the city. I'll head to the city and see if it is as they say it is. You'll be able to get by without me for a little bit. All my books and research that I've been looking at will still be there at the temple, so you'll be able to make some informed decisions. But I think it's important that we have a backup plan. If we've seen 20 of them already, there's chances are many times more under the surface.
How fast do they breed?
It's sort of a thing that depends on their food supply. Now, to be honest, I don't think there would be too much around here to let them breed explosively. But, again, it depends what they've found before and what they've been moving. We haven't heard any word from anywhere else about Kuthrik sightings or anything of that nature, so that does lead me to believe that it's not a huge full-grown outbreak, but again, it's better safe than sorry.
I mean, there's at least 20 of them. They're close to the surface. What's north of here, besides the river? Just maybe no one has been there to see them.
Well, honestly, not much. There's a mountain range not incredibly far away, more hilly than mountainous, rather, but makes it difficult to grow crops, so there's no settlements there to the north. Well, directly to the north, anyways.
With the group we fought, I got pretty roughened up. I mean, at this point, with not hearing anything about other attacks, I think it would be safer to assume that there were no survivors from attacks than that there were no attacks.
He sort of nods his head, Alas does. He goes, I agree. I mean, whether or not there's cities there's certainly people there scattered somewhere, living off the land and whatnot. If this were just small, surely we would have heard about it before now.
Looks like the kobold knew alone, but he seems to be kind of not that easily killed.
Indeed.
That's probably why I didn't care.
What if the kobold's working with the Kuthrik?
What does he usually say when he attacks people? Something about the land being reclaimed or whatever?
Mainly, to be honest, he gives a speech about how strong and powerful he is before he goes about doing his thing.
Oh.
Did you want to have a look at his club? I've got it on me. I'm pretty sure it's his club that's strong and powerful, not him.
He sort of shrugs. A club's a club. But as to your other earlier question, again, I don't think there's anything ever written down about the Kuthrik working towards anything or with anyone else, either your food or your a rock, as it were.
Can I just pull the club out and show them all how it glows?
Sure.
'Cause doesn't it have a little radiance to it or
It's a
something?
mace, not a club.
The mace. Keep thinking club because I've got the bone club.
But yeah, you know, it's not something they have a ton of experience with, but it's a magical weapon, you know. I don't know what else to say about it. They're not particularly impressed by it. They say, sure, you know, it certainly might have had something to do, but as I was saying before, there's been reports before of him being killed, and then, well, he comes back in the next several days afterwards, so, well, we thought all the guardsmen were lying about it, but he sort of shrugs. But the real question now is, what are our next steps? As I mentioned, I think I'm determined to go out and actually see this city of yours, and then we'll be able to at least know that there's something out there that we can go to.
Sure. Troll, did you want us to take him for a sightseeing thing? You guys can probably manage here that we've opened the door, so to speak. We can see where we can take him there. We can get on the horses. Should be really quick.
Troll says that he can arrange one of his members to have him visit the town, but he thinks you lot would probably be better served here. After all, you are, as it were, the heroes of the town.
Oh, yes. Otherwise, should definitely read the records and all that on the notes you have. See how they tick. How do you prepare against them? What countermeasures have worked before, and start preparations.
Indeed. I think we should also, again, go out and scout. I know you've had a run-in with them before, but... well, again, we need to be kept abreast of what they're doing. I suppose for now you have 70 men at your disposal, and again, we're appreciative of any help. We're a bit out of our depth of field here, and so we're not quite sure what to do. We're taking guidance from you at the moment. What would you have us do?
I'd say definitely get everyone, gather the people you can that will fight and get everyone abreast of the situation. You can feel free to use the corpses we have outside. Make sure everyone knows what they're up against.
All right. That's a good plan. At least they won't be shocked when they come into battle with them.
And if they're like, if their men are having a look around,
I'm back.
can like Rick sort of like try and point out parts of the armor where they should aim for, like
Avoid the
just
stinger.
sort of give them tips. Yeah, like avoid the stinger, aim for here. Don't aim for the big, plate on its back.
Sure. I mean, they come by and they sort of give them a little, hey, these things exist. They're likely coming to kill you. And of course, as that's happening, people are nervous. They're upset. They're certainly not happy. And all throughout the background, as people are doing these things and these sort of rumors are spreading, as rumors are wont to do, the rat folk, especially the women's, are, whispering how great the city is, yada, yada, yada. Come to the city, we'll be safe down here. We won't have to worry about anything once we get there and all that. So again, and this is for Tadpole as well, the big question, we've decided to help out the city in preparing for the Kuthrik. The town guard doesn't really know what to do other than to scout them out and keep abreast of them. But they're saying, there's 70 of us on the militia. Tell us what to do.
Okay, and what has been our response?
We look at the corpses.
And so we're gathering the men, making them know what they're fighting, and making them see that, these which are fighting, these can be killed. We've killed. Here's the armor. Here's how they attack you with the pincers, the stingers to some of them. How the armor can, block certain blows, stuff like that. They'll have this thick chitin and how the weak points are and stuff like that. So they know what they're fighting and have some idea to fight it.
Okay. All right. And have we had anybody do any recon? Do we know if they're going to be, if there looks like they're coming this way or not?
Nope. This is still that night, the initial conversation.
Well, then that's what I kind of suggest we arrange for at least some advanced reconnaissance.
There's also the fact that apparently in the library they can make the wall go deeper into the ground, supposedly to help make sure they can just dig through easily. And Alas has a lot of notes and research regarding Kuthrik. They've attacked in the past, but not recently, like before you've been here probably. And they've been repelled apparently somehow before it.
All right.
You got research, reconnaissance, and mustering the troops probably.
So we do have some kind of reconnaissance already set up?
Well, that's on the to-do list.
Okay.
Are there any faster horses than these? I'm matching in general to whoever's there.
Grim's just gone way quick.
Oh. I want Fireball, please level us up.
Alright, sorry about that.
I was asking, are there any faster horses where you maybe gather a faster, more maneuverable scouting force?
Not really. The horses are more draft in nature than war horse in nature, or even scouting in nature. They're animals who have a purpose, and the purpose is agricultural work.
Okay, well, let's send now. There are people that are farming around here, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's start spreading the word to the farmers. Any sign of anything, send word back to the flee to the city and bring word with you. Let's get some kind of a an alert system set up, so at least we know, so we're not taken completely off by surprise.
Groups of 2 or 3 people on horseback, depending on how many horses we have, mulling around, and people delivering messages and checking out farmstead. If there's any signs of attack, to report it, to not try to be a hero.
So we're trying to pull from our local militia, or are we trying to pull from the farmers and whatnot at this point?
Yes.
Both. Make sure the farmers know, tell the militia to help out, send people out, set up like little network. Right?
Yeah, if there's a sighting of it, have the farmers come to let us know immediately, and they can also take refuge in the city.
Okay. And about, just an estimate, about how many of the actual trained folk are you going to have going out? As I mentioned before, which you may not have heard, there's about 30 or so actual guardsmen and about an additional 40 militiamen.
Send the militiamen out. Keep the guardsmen here, is what I would say.
Okay.
Because we don't want them to actually engage, per se. We want them to more do reconnaissance.
See the ground moving, shifting. We hear these weird noises. Run.
I think we should send out like 5 just in case they do engage accidentally. Like maybe 4 of them can sacrifice themselves so one can run away. And
I want to give them a nice stirring speech about how noble it is to die in defense of the home city.
Sure. Again, at this point, we're still planning with the key people. We're not actually knocking anything out until we say, okay, let's do this.
And on that note, Alas is going to check out the city to see if it's a viable retreating point.
These things travel underground, right?
Yes.
All right. But we don't know how deep.
Fairly close to the surface. Generally, when they're moving normally, you can certainly see evidence of their tunnels on the surface.
I'd like to make a point to tell everyone that the city has wonderful, deep stone groundworks that you can't dig under it. Tall, high walls, magical wards,
Do we know what is it? Sound that brings these vibrations that attract these things, like the movie Tremors.
They have really good. I think they have good hearing and what's the word? Smelling. I think they can they got good trackers.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they can see you sometimes before you see them or some shit like that. They kind of noticed us really quick when we showed up. Again,
right. So that's what I suggest we do. Then
okay.
Try to get them to shoot from a distance if they can. Have small bands go running in and out, but mostly try to do projectiles. If we can, bring them up close to the wall.
Bears and bows.
All right, so right now I'm going to do sort of a little summary of what we have. We're going to be spreading the word to pretty much everyone in the city, very specifically the farmers. We're going to have most of the militia going out and doing patrols somewhat close to the city, but, certainly out to where the farms are. We're going to be having some of the guardsmen heading out with the militia, so at least there's more of a trained person there with each group of militia, but for the most part we are holding the actual guardsmen back into the city. We're going to start a focus on creating projectile weapons, arrows, bows, that kind of things. And if there is an altercation with them, our general response plan is to return to the city basically as fast as possible.
Yeah, let's give everybody whistles, that so we can try to alert throughout different places of the city. Give it like a 3 blow and a signal. So we'll make sure all the different. I assume, can we get enough whistles to do that? So the different groups that go out and within the city.
you can get something without much worry. You
That's
know,
fine.
it's a shepherding community, and we're not big on dogs to do actual shepherding, so presumably there's some way to signals and yada yada
Yeah, okay.
yada.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's some communication.
I would imagine that most scouting and stuff would need to happen outside of the city, and probably at distance where whistle would be too hearable.
Do we know what these things eat? Does it have to be
Everything.
alive, or are they carrion eaters as well?
Right now, pretty much everything. If
Okay,
it's organic,
why
it
don't-
eats it.
If there's sheep, why don't we poison some sheep? You know, throw a bunch of either poison them and let them die as they run around. Hopefully, they can be eaten, or if there's something, you know what I mean, or throw a bunch of poison in a sheep corpse and throw it out to one of these things, and just try to do everything you can to weaken these things.
Because between the fields that are already being destroyed with the kobold, the wildlife that's been displaced, all they have is the livestock for the most part.
That's met with a little bit of grumbling from the folks at the table for sure. But Shoal does step in and goes, "That's a pretty good decision, honestly. If these things are as unstoppable as we believe they are."
I still have the head in my bag of holding of one of them. I'm going to go in the other room and pull it out. So I don't want them to see that I've got a bag of holding, and come back with the head and plop it on the table.
Well, you
Well,
actually have several of the corpses right now
Oh,
that
okay.
you
All
killed
right,
with
then never
you.
mind.
So, I mean, this is a
That's what
definite...
we've been educating them with. so
We
to
know
speak.
these things exist. It's no secret.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so everything we can to...
Troll wholeheartedly agrees with that and very seriously pushes that idea. If it's a matter between losing some sheep and losing all of your lives, I certainly know which one I would choose. The sheep are replaceable. Your lives are not.
Yeah.
Well,
Sheep,
technically, both are
children,
replaceable.
any of them. It's fine.
So eventually that, yes, they certainly would go along with the idea of poisoning some sheep and driving them to the north. And of course, I'm writing things down too.
I reckon we need a group with us, and we need to dedicate a scouting expedition to finding the location of the actual hive itself, like where the queen and egg rooms, everything like that are.
Yeah, that's the next question. I think we got a lot of good stuff for what we're going to be having them do for the, for the day and what basic preparations we're going to make. What are we, the party, going to be doing during this time? Are we going to be going out and doing something, trying to find where they are? Are we going to be staying in the city, trying to coordinate these efforts? What's our plan?
We definitely should research Elas's notes to see how they build and formulate the hives. Like, is the queen by the eggs kind of thing? You know what I mean?
I kind of want to find out how they got rid of them last time.
Yeah.
What do you mean got rid of them last time?
Well, they said they fought them for that's where Elas's notes are from.
Didn't they say that there was an attack before, like well before that they might have records?
Like, this is my issue, maybe for not explaining it, but this is like years and years and years, decades ago. This isn't a recent thing, but yes.
But they
So they wouldn't have records on it.
I mean, there would be some, but, it
Elas said he has
may
notes,
not be
so let's look at those. See what they did last time, see if there's anything we can learn about how they build their nests, stuff like that.
Well, I think we should either be the ones driving the sheep out into that area, because we know the area, and then either that or stay back and take care of the fences.
Well, I know it's a dick move, but we could do all of it essentially.
That's very true.
Right,
I mean,
tonight,
have,
preparation, tomorrow, action.
Well, I was thinking more we could have one person leading the group doing the poisoning and shit, and
Well, I don't want to split up the party.
yeah, like nothing major. I wasn't thinking. Yeah, yeah. What Grimcad just said, it's a great idea, but I wasn't thinking of like any major events happening. But hopefully, anyway.
We
But
got a lot
like
of time.
basic shit. Yeah. Like one person could be doing the poisoning and the driving the sheep and everything, while one takes the scouting party to see if they can actually find the location of the hive itself.
Well,
And
we're
then
going to try to
another-
move the sheep to the hive. So, again, I do not want to split the party. I just think that is a
So
absolutely
again, we don't have to do
horrific
it
idea.
once. Like we can spend the first night, the morning, looking through his notes, seeing how they do stuff. We can send a party out together to scout where it is, and then we can move the sheep. That's 1, 2, 3.
And there are certainly people who could move the sheep out. I mean, the sheep are owned by shepherds and all that, so it doesn't
That's fine.
necessarily have
That's
to be
true.
something
So
done
we
by
should
you.
either be the scouting party, then why don't we be the scouting party? And the nice thing about being the scouting party is if things go south, we can always run away and let the town fend for itself. Hello? I am evil. I mean, come on.
So are we kind of all in agreement that we wish to be the scouting party, or does anyone else have an idea they want to propose?
I do want a copy of Alice's notes before he leaves.
Sure. That's a thing that can be sort of studied on the way, as it were, All right, so we are pretty much set that we are going to be out scouting.
Do they have like homing pigeons or anything like that we could send word?
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
Not something in mass like that, anyways.
Okay. Does anybody have any like stones of sending or anything else like that? Magic items of communication or distance?
Afraid not.
Okay.
You would certainly know that most communication is done, horse. Horse and message letters.
Okay.
Quick different note, you guys want to see a swole kobold?
A swobold?
That's actually what it's called. It's called the kobold, swobold.
Well, at this point as well, that we're starting to find out exactly what you're doing, Chol is going to send out word to the rest of the caravan and have them come into the city as well. With these numbers being as large as have been said that they are, well, there's definitely potential issues, and now that their party, as it were, is kind of split, well, he just doesn't believe it's exactly safe. And whether or not you object to that, he does it. All right, is there anything else that we can think of that we would like to prepare and do on the first day?
No. Last will and testament maybe, but other than that, no.
All right, so again, I'm going to go over one more time just to make sure. Alas, with someone, one of the rat folk, is going to be heading to the city to see how that is as a viable escape route for everyone else. We're making the farmers aware of what's going on, in that they should be running away from these things if we have. The militia is going to be out scouting decently close to the wall, shouting distance or so. We're going to be splitting some of the actual guardsmen with each group of militia, so there's at least someone trained doing something. We're working on constructing projectile weapons, arrows, bows, blah blah blah, for whatever happens. The protocol, if we do find something for those groups, is to come to the wall as quickly as possible and hopefully let the wall take care of whatever issues there are. We're going to be giving out signaling devices of some sort, to these groups, so if people are at a shouting range, we can still do something about it. We're going to be driving the sheep to the north to where these Kuthrik are believed to be, and we are going to be poisoning them. Now we'll do a little bit more with that one because, there's slow poisons, fast poisons, leaving the bodies, yada, yada, yada. We're going to be getting...
I think we could actually attach the poison to their... They don't necessarily have to ingest the sheep. We could actually, vials of poison actually on their hides. You know what I mean? So the sheep are alive and bleeding and bleating and bleeding.
Sure. And whatnot. We're going to be doing the research, going through the notes, finding out what to do, and we ourselves, the party, are going to be scouting ahead of these sheep being led towards the Kuthrik. We believe we know where they are, more or less, based on what we've seen them before, but we don't know exactly where they are, and that's what we, as the party, are going to be trying to determine.
Yeah.
Everything sound good with that?
Yep.
Okay, anything else we can think of at this point in time?
I would like to train to prepare the militia to guts playing Make a Man Out of You from Mulan.
Sure. No problem. We make that plan. We pass it along to everyone. We pretty much decide on it. There is going to be a slight issue getting poison in the quantities that we think we need, but we're going to be rounding up pretty much everything we can find. We're going to be setting our top experts on it, quote unquote, and we're going to be trying to make it work, but again...
Fast acting, slow acting, any acting of any kind.
Yep.
Better than nothing.
With not a lot of vermin in the city, there's not a lot of poison to go with it. But they'll be doing what they can, and so that's a plan.
Yeah.
If everybody's happy with that, I think we are going to go ahead and end the session here.
Okay.
Wild. It was fun.
Does anyone else have anything they do wish to add before we end it?
Nope.
All right.
I'll beat Adrian. I'll beat Adrian to saying it this time so that we get a level.
Funnily enough, with the plan done, with the battle looming, we do in fact gain a level.
Sweet. Yeah. I get one extra attack per turn, and that's basically it for this level.
So that puts us up to
get...
level 5. I would like you to roll for your HP.
You don't do average?
I don't do average. We did max the first 3 levels, and right now we're rolling.
Okay. Here.
Praise our in Jesus.
Praise our in Jesus.
Hey, I like that. 7 plus my con.
That's not too bad.
That's very good. We're very good so far. Everybody's just one off of max.
Just wait for it. Just wait for it.
No. I'm 3 off max.
Never mind.
But you can't now.
Because my +2 bonus.
Oh,
I rolled 9 plus 2.
Half.
Oh, I see. I didn't see that you had added it to it already.
I mean, if you want to give us double 2, then yeah, sure. Don't mention it.
Yeah, I noticed that you can just click hit dice and it rolls it for you.
Does it? I did not know that.
Yeah, the word hit dice on the character sheet. That's how you get the roll that me and Adrian had.
Just say
No
it's hit
kidding.
Hey,
dice.
all of them. They're still popping through.
I already did my roll, but I'm curious here.
I'm still taking my original roll. Yeah, I'm not giving up my 10.
Yeah, I'm happy with having 65 health now.
See, you all did much better than half, for the most part.
I got half.
I did the same roll, regardless. All right, cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, we've been a group of people playing D&D. This has been The Shifting City. If you're watching, leave a like.
The Shitty City.
Leave a comment. And all that jazz. I hope you have a great day, no matter what you're doing. and peace out.
Take care, people of the interwebs.